Hello, folks. Welcome to Nateland. Big shout out today to Helix Sleep. Take their 2-minute sleep quiz and they will match you to a mattress that will give you the best sleep of your life. Find your perfect mattress at helixsleep.com/Nate. As always, I'm sitting here, Aaron Weber, Brian Bates. We also have a guest. We have a guy. This guy dropped in town.
Yeah.
And so we had him in. Yannis Pappas.
Thank you. Yeah. You don't know who I am.
No one does.
But nobody does. But I'm here to collect my royalties for this podcast name.
I know. So a lot of what people don't know, if they're in the comedy scene, you probably haven't seen Yannis. And Yannis has his own podcast.
Yeah.
Yanni Long Days.
Yeah.
History Hyenas. There's a good chance we're trying not to. You might hear beeps during this podcast.
Yeah, this is gonna
always.
Yeah, we're
gonna be tough.
They're gonna ask for a little extra pay after this episode. Yeah.
This is we'll be going through it. Me and Yannis started comedy together in New York, and he stopped in town. Just did Rogan, making the rounds.
Just did Joe Rogan, yeah.
And then
So hashtag that. That'll help. Yeah.
And then
those are Republican viewers as well.
Yeah.
Just let me know what I can't say.
Yeah, I will. There's gonna be a lot of it.
Yeah.
The intro will just be welcome to Nateland, and you won't even hear that you're here.
I got big shoes to fill. Nick Novicki was the last guest, so big shoe to fill is part of the joke as well.
Yeah. So the Nateland name.
Yeah.
Actually, Yannis is the one that came up with Nateland.
Yeah.
Because you would say every time you left New York, you're from New York, from Brooklyn.
Yeah. Well, you're like a prototypical America.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, like a prototypical wide receiver is 6'3", not white, you know?
Yeah.
You're just like a prototypical American. You can go to like Colorado, anywhere like 5 to 10 miles outside of any city.
Yeah.
You're just going to meet you. Nate will just be like, hey man, you kind of look half golf attire, half like
Hat on.
like college football.
Welcome to Nateland.
Yeah. You dress like you work for Vanderbilt.
Yes.
And you don't have a college degree.
Yeah,
So you're just,
Yeah. As I always say, Yannis went to American University, and I went to the University of America.
That's what we did. Yeah, and we used to do a college tour together too.
We did.
Yeah. Well, we call it a college tour, but it was 8 shows that an open micer set up.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dan Frigolette, you're not a real comedian.
We did. We did a whole tour. It was Dan that set this tour up. He did great at setting this tour up.
He did.
It was pretty crazy. It was the most money we made at that time.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was, it might have been like a couple $1,000s a show or something. And we were like, this is crazy.
And it was right after your first Conan.
Yeah.
And back then it still meant something. It wasn't just a good tape for the internet.
Yeah.
So I remember you made me laugh the hardest because after he did his first Conan, like you just feel like you're going to be famous. It's like, especially the era we grew up in, it's like you're on TV. And it did a lot. But Nate was like, had a hung shirt in the back seat, like a pressed iron shirt.
Yeah.
And he said to Dan Frigolette, he goes, yeah, you could, if you want, you could sniff that shirt. It smells like fame. It was real funny.
Yeah.
I remember that clearly. And the other funny thing you said when we were walking past a pizza place, it said America's Choice, or like the best pizza in America.
Yeah.
And he said, they wouldn't lie to you on the sign, would they? Helix Mattress.
Yeah. So we're going to start as usual. We're going to go through the comments. We got Yannis here for all of it. Put him to use, using all of it.
I'm here. That's what I'm here for. Yeah. I mean, I flew down for this gig.
You flew down for it. This is the big deal.
Yeah. You put me up in the room next to this.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's a good room. We're going to get you moved here.
Yeah.
You're going to move to Nashville.
I'm going to move here. Yeah. Into your house. There's
Yeah.
enough room in here. God knows that. Yeah.
Well, we'd love to have you.
I mean, I feel like I'm in J.J. Watt's home or something.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. You know what's funny is you're from here.
Yeah.
And Nashville's not a town where a lot of people are from. So like when the South Asian doctor who lives in one of these houses meets you, at first he doesn't think you're a comic. He just thinks like you had a family-owned plumbing business and did real well in the area.
Think, yes.
Yeah.
When I say I'm from here, they definitely don't.
Like he must have a window business or the Bargatze. Yeah.
Yeah. We do the plumbing.
Yeah.
And we're good at it.
Yeah.
Christina Malberg. My husband and I look forward to your show every single week. We try not to talk about any of the episodes until both of us have had a chance to finish it, because we don't want to spoil anything for each other.
Wait a second. What was that word?
Spoil.
Spoil?
Spoil.
Spoil?
We don't. Well, how do you say it?
I think the way America says it, spoil.
Spoil.
Yeah, you could call it a spoil.
Spoil.
Spoil, yeah.
We don't want to spoil
Yeah.
anything for each other.
Yeah.
But we love rehashing it and cracking up all over again. I get so excited when a new episode comes out because I cannot wait to hear the silliness that you guys bring to the table. Love it all. Don't change a thing. She's going to hate this one with Yannis.
Yeah, Yannis and Nate Opener 1 and 2. Am I allowed to learn their names yet? Can you introduce me?
They don't even know my
We
name.
said
Are they allowed to make eye contact?
Breakfast and Aaron.
Breakfast. Nice to meet you guys.
Good to meet you.
Yeah.
If you correct,
We introduced when we all came.
I don't remember. I'm on coke. All right. Edit number 1. Yeah.
I mean, this is going to be a brutal.
I'm joking. I meant Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris Merrigan. Hello, folks. This podcast feels like Brontosaurus. That's the joke. Do you get it?
Because his name starts with a B?
Yeah. And so we all call them just different names.
Okay.
It's a fun whirlwind.
Yeah.
This podcast feels like Brontosaurus is an over-prepared substitute teacher with all his research, and Nate and Aaron clearly just wants him to put on a movie.
Oh, yeah.
Love the podcast. Keep them coming. Goodbye, folks.
I'd say that's fair.
funny. Yeah.
That's perfect.
You do look
Yeah.
like a substitute teacher a little bit. Yeah.
You see it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if they were talking about his looks, but
I
it's
think
nice
they
that you
were.
said that.
Well,
Yeah.
I do a lot of research, and Nate, he's not a fan of.
He
learning.
does, but you wouldn't think this
Nate is
walk
not
in,
a fan of learning. That was a good joke. Give him a second
Yeah.
for a beat.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's not. You're a fan of Vanderbilt, you're a fan of a lot of things. Not a fan
and
of learning. Yeah.
Yeah. Vanderbilt's all about
Yeah.
learning.
Comedy has spoiled you.
It spoiled
It
me.
spoiled you, yeah.
Nathan Fox. There was a comment a few episodes back where a husband convinced his wife that Boy Scout was Nate's father. I think watching Nate read the comments and having Bowflex saying the big words when he's struggling is the very reason why that is believable lie. As a new father, it's inspiring to see Bratwurst still being a loving father to Nate. Forget parenting books. I get all my inspiration from this podcast. Look forward to every Wednesday for this. Thank you, guys.
I'm proud of you, buddy.
It's good.
Yeah.
You're doing a lot better.
Reading?
Yeah.
I get through it. I get that. I have
It's
trouble
like,
reading.
It's like Floyd Mayweather trying to get through it.
Yeah. It's tough.
Yeah.
I mean, he's progressed a lot, though.
He's doing
It's
good.
tough.
Yeah.
Chris Langmo. Nate, I think it's about time you hired some non-local help to come on full time. Love the podcast, but come on. Beefy and Silver Surfer, I know you guys can do better. Nate, killing it as always. I was saying I should get different people than you.
Was he calling me beefy?
Beefy and Silver Surfer.
That's a tough one because
That's
I'm the
it. I don't
B,
know.
but you're the beefy.
Yeah, I'm the B.
Yeah.
No, I think
I
that
don't
was
know.
pretty obvious. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Chris,
What is Silver Surfer? What does that even mean?
I have no idea.
I would imagine you have a lot of gray hair, but you don't have gray hair. I have
No.
gray hair.
Got
but
some
I haven't-
shine.
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, I'll pull that comment aside, think about it. Get some new guys in here, you know what I mean?
Well, they said new talent.
You know what I mean?
You didn't do that. Yeah, you
know
brought
what
a
I
new
mean?
guy, but
need
not
some New York.
yeah.
Need some New York funny in here, don't I?
You do. I mean, Nashville's a big city now, though. It's
Yeah.
not even really that southern.
Yeah. No, it's not.
It's
I mean,
not.
there's a lot of people from a lot of places.
Yeah.
My cul-de-sac is full of no one's from there. Ohio, New Jersey, Louisiana.
You got one from
Yeah.
China.
Yeah, neighbors are Chinese. They would fly there every week. It's pretty crazy. She would go.
You did. They would fly there every week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty crazy trip. That
They fly to
worked.
China every week?
She was flying a lot, and then and we haven't really talked to them much because they were gone so much. They're gone, but we know her kids. Her kids come over, and then
Your
they
kids would come over after they flew
yeah.
to China.
No, they did.
You're like,
They're all fun.
give my daughter 7 to 10 days, please. Before There's a play going around. I feel like your fan base would appreciate that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tim Shockley, you've had it.
Huh? I've had it. Yeah.
You've had COVID.
I've had COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Took him down. Yeah. He has the antibodies.
Yeah. No, I have the antibodies. I'm fine. Don't worry about it.
He was a big problem
Yeah.
for his family.
And y'all
Yeah.
down here, you kind of believe in it, not 100%.
No.
Yeah.
When did you have it?
About yesterday was when the symptoms stopped. I think I'm good.
I think it's good.
I think I'm not a doctor, but
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. He got nervous. Like,
Yeah.
he's like, I'm 70.
Well,
I don't
he's
want
the
to die.
age-
Yeah,
he's the age bracket
Like, I'm
that it's
70.
like,
It's gonna kill
yikes.
me. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've been good for a long time.
Yeah.
It was November, beginning of December. So
Yeah.
I did the antibody test. I got, I got Nature Shield, red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Red, white, and blue. I got the natural flag.
Yeah.
Good old immune system that was born and bred in the U.S. of A.
You know what I mean?
Brooklyn, New York.
You know what I mean? Brooklyn.
You know what I mean? Brooklyn, yeah.
Tim Shockley. Nate, you are right about landlines. They are still a thing. I work in IT, and we use landline phones to test our fax lines. Ask Barley. I'm sure he still uses them since he's like 80.
Wow. Just
They go after him.
Yeah, that's what you called God. Just tagged that.
Yeah.
I mean, the
we're-
timing of that couldn't have been better. 1-2 punch right to your old face.
We're all three guys in our 40s.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you look 70.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
He's young. How old do you think he is?
Yeah. I almost don't want to hear it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 30,
Close.
27,
29.
29.
Yeah.
This is-
29.
It's a big gig for you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't move out of my mom's house. I was 38. You're
Yeah.
doing good.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, I go back time to time.
Yeah.
Quarantine had
To
to,
the
move
mom's
right
house.
back in. Yeah.
You saw that house?
No, I just live
No,
in
they
it.
still.
Yeah.
Oh, in your parents' house. The house
No,
you
I'm
grew up-
trying to. Yeah, I have a wife and a kid now. If I was
No, I
still living
know.
at my mom's house,
But you still
are
have
we
it?
even still friends anymore?
Yeah. No, but you still.
Have you gotten so big you just don't think I have an income anymore?
I had never thought you had an income. Like you had a good run.
That's what I'm here. I want to
Yeah.
talk to your podcast. I want to talk to your producer / wife
Giannis
about.
came out-
Yeah, I need royalties on Nateland.
Giannis came out hot. 2000s, early 2000s, SNL,
1980s.
1980s. He did. Giannis came out real hot with
What do you
the.
mean?
And then it really cooled
Well,
off.
you were doing SNL audition. I mean, out the gate.
I was like dinner food left on the table
Yeah.
overnight. Came
Yeah.
out hot and then got cold.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, yeah. I started off auspicious start, and then the career really cooled down,
yeah.
and then now it's been in the microwave, so it's
Now it's doing good.
it's reheated, but it
Reheated.
doesn't taste good at all.
Yeah, but people eat it.
Yeah. People do eat it.
Yeah.
When nothing else is around, people will eat
People
it. Yeah,
eat it.
yeah.
Joyce Breckenridge. I feel like Aaron holds back a lot of his thoughts, maybe so Nate won't beat up on him. I love you all, but stop being mean to Aaron for being thoughtful. You can be mean to Brochure, though. That's just funny.
So they just call you every name with a B.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fun.
That's why I wasn't sure if they meant me by beefy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
You know?
right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
guys get it. Dan Pitts. I
Wait,
need
wait,
it.
wait. I want to know, do you hold back?
On
Because
eating?
we-
No.
so-
No, I
The
don't.
theory is he's a secret genius because he went to Notre Dame.
Uh-huh.
He uses a lot of words. Whatever word you just used, auspicious.
Auspicious beginning.
Yeah, I mean, I
He
didn't-
might
I
know
just
that,
Let
I
it
mean,
fly.
yeah.
No, that's stuff that he uses. They used it at the dinner table.
Yeah. I say that to you, I might as well be saying it to a fish. Like
Yeah.
there's just no chance
No.
you're gonna know that word.
I didn't know. I
Yeah.
figured it means that you had a chance at a career early on and then it fell. is that the? I don't know the definition.
I
of
mean,
it.
it's a good guess.
It's a good. It's
a
it's
good
in the
guess.
ballpark.
It's in the ballpark.
Yeah.
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 I mean, but you're right. Yeah. It means you started off strong and then things
Yeah.
kind of tapered off. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice way to say it.
Yeah.
Dan Pitts, I need advice from Nate, Aaron, and Beefcake. It recently snowed here in Minnesota, and we drove by a lady in a wheelchair that was shoveling her driveway. My daughters and I went back home to grab the shovels to help. When we drove back, we noticed a Suburban in the garage and a kid playing outside when she was shoveling. I got to thinking maybe she would be insulted if I stopped to help you just because she was in a wheelchair. So we drove by a couple times because I didn't know what to do. My daughter said this sounds like something they would talk about on the Nateland podcast. Maybe not. But I do wonder, what would you guys have done? So she has help. Like she likes doing it, maybe.
Apparently, because she had kids there just playing and
Yeah.
not helping her.
I mean, how young are these kids? You know, if it's like
Yeah.
a 5-year-old, then they can't help her. Maybe she would like to help. But if they were, old enough to be helping.
How old before you start shoveling snow as a job?
When
as
did
a
y'all
chore?
shovel? I mean, you grew up in New York,
Grew
so
up in New York. I think I started shoveling around 10, 11.
that's
Yeah.
like cutting the grass.
That's what I
down
was gonna
here.
say. That's
Yeah.
what I was gonna compare it to.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys don't get, you just get a dusting once in a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
get like a full blown.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, we definitely get some snow, but it's not like it's not a thing that you worry about.
You don't go like there's a nor'easter coming in.
Yeah.
From
No.
like Boston. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
are,
we
yeah.
probably worry about it more than they
Yeah.
do, but we should.
Well, we shut down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we get a dusting, school's out.
Yeah, that's funny.
I mean, it's over.
Yeah, it's like in LA when it drops below 70, people are putting on like, North
Like-
Face jackets
Yeah.
and hats.
Oh, wearing gloves.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I mean, I think they did the right, you do what you do. You drive by a couple times, see if you think you need it. Probably made her even more worried. I mean, after you
Yeah.
drive by a couple times, it's like you can't stop because she's like, you the car that's been keep driving back and forth? You got to kind of bell it in. So it ended up being, it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you didn't help right out the gate, then it's, you do, the effort was there
Yeah.
to help. and then you contemplated it.
There's no
and,
harm in asking, though. I don't think this woman would have been offended.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe she
If
would.
you ask her why she's in a wheelchair,
Yeah. Is that what you're going to ask her? You going to come out just out it? What happened?
No, ask her if she needs any help.
Oh,
Right?
and she's like, "Why did y'all stop?" Oh, we were going to help you, but then we just got curious. Why are you in a wheelchair? I don't know if I even believe you're in a wheelchair.
why are you crippled?
Ben Shaw. When I was a camp counselor, I was driving a boat full of 11-year-olds when I spotted a bald eagle flying down to catch a fish in its claws. I stopped the boat, turned off the motor, and called the attention to the eagle. As camp counselors do, I gave a quick speech on the glory of our nation's symbol and how powerful it was. Just as I finished my speech, an ugly buzzard flew up, perched on the tree above the eagle, jumped down and stole the eagle's fish and flew away. I was at a loss. I said, "Well, you can't win them all, guys." And we motored off. I'm so glad that I finally found some other folks that might enjoy that story.
That's when
We
a
talked
kid,
about eagles.
Yeah, that's when a kid gets his first lesson about nature.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, it's
They don't care.
It's brutal out there.
It's
yeah.
brutal out there.
It's brutal out there.
It's brutal out there.
Yeah.
An eagle can just take your house.
Yeah.
That's what we talked about. It's a very funny idea that an eagle can.
Well, you had an eagle that was living in your living room at some point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moved in.
Yeah, like it was right outside your house.
Yeah.
And what do you got to do there? You got to contact the service, like.
Yeah, it ended up leaving, but
Yeah.
I think you got to call someone and say, I don't know who you call, 1-800-EAGLE. Just say.
It's kind of rare to have an eagle like nesting in your backyard. There's like 10 eagles left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
So you
it's
didn't do
kinda
anything?
good.
You didn't tell anyone?
It ended up moving. It just didn't care for the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And then wasn't up to its standards. You know what I
That's when you
mean?
lived in Hermitage.
Yeah. That's when we didn't have enough American flags for its liking.
Yeah. In your house, there wasn't
yeah.
enough.
We put more out since
Yeah.
then. Jack Rotten. Hey guys, I'm a 20-year-old college student in Georgia, and I love listening to y'all's podcast every week. Huge fan of Seinfeld and The Office as well, so it's even better to get every joke you say. This past week, I went on a date with a girl to impress her. I said I like 8 of Nate's jokes as my own. To impress her, I said like 8 of Nate's jokes as my own during dinner, and she was laughing the whole time, thinking I'm coming up with all of it on the spot. Things are going well so far, but I've worked my way almost all the way through full-time magic, entering Tennessee Kid territory.
I mean, the kid is a hack.
Yeah, it's gonna be-
using other people's material. I mean, imagine that going on a date and quoting somebody else. Get your own stuff.
He's entering Tennessee Kid territory. Is going to be risky since it's on Netflix, but it may have to be done. Brick Oven Pizza and Airplane, y'all are awesome as well, and definitely help the literacy rate in the room improve. I think it's.
If your
I like
daughter
it.
was a guest, she would help.
Yeah.
You're like, Daddy, let me read that.
I think it's. I like when they.
Yeah, no, that's funny. I was
shows
just
your
joking.
your material travels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
he gets.
He could do the stand-ups.
He could do the stand-ups.
Yeah.
Comedy Central,
Also
half hour
Netflix.
presents.
Yeah.
No one finds
I have a
that.
CD.
No.
CD.
No, Comedy Central is a
My
great
CD.
place to put your special if you want to hide it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're like, I want to
is.
hide it.
You're
Just
like, it's
give it to
got-
Comedy Central to
I think it got
produce.
too many. Yeah, I think I don't know. I took mine aired on the same night of the Mayweather Pacquiao fight.
Yeah, that was actually really funny. His
Yeah.
special aired opposite the May. I remember that in
Yeah.
Atlanta. I remember talking to you
You
about
say
that.
he didn't even watch
He
it.
said I didn't
I
even
didn't
watch
even
my
watch
own
it.
special.
we watched the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The best. Have we talked about that on this? The Norm Macdonald one.
Mm-mm.
Supposedly with Norm Macdonald. From what I heard, I don't know. This is just what I heard, but his aired the same night of what is the Earth Day.
Yeah.
So they tell everybody to turn the TVs off for Earth Day, and his special aired that night.
That's real funny.
Henry Bordeaux.
Bordeaux.
Henry Bordeaux. Hello, Nate, Aaron, and Bowflex.
He's got a hard enough time to say it in English. Don't put any French words in
Yeah,
here.
don't get fancy
Yeah.
on us, Henry. You got a first name Henry, you getting fancy on the back half. Hello, Nate, Aaron, and Bowflex. I've realized the man at the Starbucks by my house has actually been calling me Memphis this past 2 weeks. I thought that's what he's been saying, but never really paid attention. This morning, he definitely said, "Have a good one, Memphis." I feel like I've gone too far with not correcting him after the first couple of times. Do I just become Memphis with this person? My fear is I will go here with my wife and they will refer to me as Memphis, and then I'll have to explain. I just want to live my life. I need advice. Bye for now. Why was he calling him Memphis?
I don't know. Don't they write on the cups your name?
Yeah, that's just out there. I think you're just Memphis, dude. I think you enjoy that you walk in there and you're Memphis, dude. Like that's a fun.
Yeah, when someone calls me the wrong name, it's the funnest thing. You just become whatever that name. You don't correct them. Say,
really?
Yeah.
Really?
I used to do it to my friends, which is a fun little trick the fans can do if you want to have a friend with some good, wholesome fun.
Yeah.
What you do is if someone doesn't know the name of it, you tell that person a different name for that person. Like I did that once to Damian Lemon at Stand Up New York. He was like, what's the bartender's name again? And I went, Randy. And his name was not Randy. And he goes, thanks, Randy.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
I like that
but
too.
name's not Randy. And he looked at me and I was dying laughing. Yeah, it's a fun little game.
Yeah, because they say it with such confidence.
Confidence because they just learned it and they didn't know it. So now they want to just like say it.
Let them know.
I always knew your name, Randy.
Yeah, Randy. Come on, Randy. And then they just, it's a fun one.
It's a fun game. Yeah.
It's a fun game.
It's a fun game.
I like always pointing people out if you think they look like someone. Giving some of the wrong numbers is fun too.
That's a fun one.
Yeah.
You know what another fun one is too? If you're walking with somebody and you knock their hand up and you go, excuse me, and then the person turns around and your hand's just up. And you're like, do you know what time it is? Or, it's fun.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I've had a few comics stay with me. Yannis Pappas, Justin Smith. They all sleep on the Helix mattress and they all loved it. And they were very comfortable. And it is pretty crazy to me to have a universal mattress that everybody can sleep on and everybody's happy. It is pretty wild. I mean, people don't like mattresses when you go to someone's house. And so it's nice to have a very comfortable mattress. And I mean, we have a wide variety of sizes of guys sleeping on that mattress.
Did Nick sleep on it?
Nick slept. I mean, we had Nick slept on it, Yannis Pappas, and Justin Smith. I mean, it is all the sizes that you would ever imagine. Helix Sleep has a quiz that takes just 2 minutes to complete and matches your body type and sleep preference to the perfect mattress for you. So if you're looking for a mattress, you just take the quiz, you order the mattress that you're matched to, and the mattress comes right to your door, shipped for free. You don't never need to go to a mattress store ever again, which is a big thing. You can't go anywhere anymore. So order it, and like we said, it's super fun to unpack.
Yeah. Opens up like a life raft, and it's just a good time.
It's a good time. Me and Aaron will come over to your house when you get it, just so we can open it with you, because we love it that much. Just go to helixsleep.com/Nate. Take their 2-minute sleep quiz, and they'll match you. They have a 10-year warranty, and you get to try it out for 100 nights risk-free. They will even pick it up for you if you don't love it, but I mean, you're going to love it. Everybody's loved it. Helix is offering up to $200 off all mattresses or all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for listeners at helixsleep.com/Nate. All right. So since Yannis is here and we've been talking about states, we wanted to, as a New Yorker, we wanted to have someone in that is from New York,
the real deal.
Yeah. Born and raised.
Yeah.
Tell me I have no culture, never lived 2 blocks from his mom's house.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
But I'm the one.
You've been to Bahrain. You thought it was a person.
I've been to Bahrain.
Yeah. You were in Bahrain.
Still more culture than you.
Wherever you were open.
You've been to Bahrain?
I mean, I've never been to Bahrain.
No. What's the farthest you've been?
I didn't open for Angela Johnson.
Oh, you went
so I didn't get to see it.
Yeah. Well, Bahrain was just for the soldiers.
Yeah.
But you did go to Sweden. You did.
I did go to Sweden. Yeah.
Yeah. You did good over there.
I would go there for 5 years. I went there straight. Yeah. And what's good about that is because I was nobody, not like I'm anybody now, but like I was truly had nothing.
Yeah.
But then you go over there and they're just like, they think you're American. So the internet was big back then, but it wasn't as big as it is now. So I just kind of pretended like I was Chris Rock. I'm like, I'm one of the best comics in New York. And they're like, I guess you are. He's American. Don't question. Americans are great. You know? And so sold out shows kind of at festivals. And then you come back to New York and it's just back at the Lantern for 8 people. It was really depressing.
The reality
hits you. The reality of being a comic in New York. Yeah.
How was doing shows there though? Would they understand? Like they're
totally. They speak English very well. They're very cerebral people. They're not like they laugh like cognitively. He knows that word.
Yeah.
So it's like everything kind of goes through their mind, and then they clap a lot. They're very like.
So they don't laugh out loud.
They laugh, but it's more of a clap.
Yeah.
Like you'll have to pause for a clap.
Because it sounds like the shows didn't go that good, is what you're telling me. And you're making them sound like
it
they
sounded
would.
like it sounded like a political speech.
I mean, that's like,
Yeah.
someone has a bad show, and you're like, no, this crowd just doesn't laugh like normal
they're
crowds.
Not laughers.
Sounds like they appreciated you more than
Yeah, no, I didn't do that good.
They said, we appreciate you coming.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow.
They were
okay,
just
thanks.
too polite to tell me they didn't like me.
Yeah.
That's probably what it was.
Yeah.
But no, the countries are clean. It's like it's crazy over the highest quality of life in the summer. Then in the winter, I guess I have to say, unfortunately, they have the highest suicide rate.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 But summer.
I know you just can't joke about that.
Yeah.
Right?
No, but summer's great.
Summer's great. And then in the winter, it's just bang.
Just
You know?
bang. It's just, I mean, it's just
too dark. I mean, the sun comes up for 12 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
that
like,
is bad.
Yeah, it's bad. Yeah, because they're in
Yeah.
the north. I don't know. I know he knows how that
Yeah.
works, but yeah.
But the
You know,
summer.
like, yeah, it depends on where you're located.
Well, it seems like a weird place to be like, no, summer's perfect.
Summer's great only because it's not winter there.
Yeah.
It's not even that great. It's like 50 degrees. I mean, they live in the North Pole.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know how they do it. Beautiful people, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful people because they,
That's good.
Viking blood. Right?
Viking
That's
blood,
what it
yeah.
is,
Yeah.
everything that was, the Vikings were brutal and harsh.
Yeah.
And then now they're just like
Good looking people.
good-looking people who like
Yeah.
wear like long coats and Chuck Taylors. It's funny how that,
Mhm.
like, if their ancestors could see them, they'd be like, really?
Yeah. This is
We
what
used
we
to-
became.
Yeah, we used to cheers and skulls,
they're
so
like,
you
"Well,
could
just-
walk around and be like, "Hi,
yeah.
welcome to H&M." Like,
But
we
they go,
have cheap
just
pants.
hang out till winter. And
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then
Yeah.
you're going to see.
Carhartt, aren't they all wearing Carhartt over there?
No, that's Boston. That's Boston. Yeah, that's like Goodwill Hunting. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know that's.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know that's what it's like here. But
And I
somebody told
imagine
me,
your dad. Your dad looks like he's a blue collar guy. No,
no, not
No?
really.
No?
no.
They went to Notre Dame.
are any of y'all the real deal, or you just have the
His whole-
accents? Like,
Just
is that-
frauds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
It's like,
from.
"Nah, I went to MIT actually.
Well, he went to Notre Dame. His whole family went to Notre Dame.
So
He's
then
super
what are you
smart.
doing comedy?
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
man.
It's for people like us who are like, have no issues.
You went to American. That's a good
I went to
school.
American. I'm smarter than Nate for sure.
Yeah.
We know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Giannis is super smart.
Yeah, I'm so smart. I know you got Vanderbilt underwear on right now.
Yeah.
Am I
I
right?
wear Vanderbilt all the time.
Yeah.
I got enough Vanderbilt stuff here.
Oh
so
no,
I let it know.
No, like I walked in, like I said, I thought you work for the school or something, but
I'm a big fan. We got a lot of good things happening over at Vanderbilt. I think the game just got postponed tonight for COVID.
But the thing about you is like you're a loyal guy.
Yeah.
You're still friends with a lot of the people you were friends with. You
Yeah.
know, you got successful, and I warned all
Yeah.
our friends. I said, give them a year. You got to give your friends a year to adapt to success, because then they start saying things like, you're not. This is for you. Got to ride the train. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, but you're loyal. You're a loyal guy. How would you say loyal?
Loyal.
You're a loyal guy.
I'm a loyal guy.
I know him so well. I know the words that he can't
Yeah.
say. And Vanderbilt, you were a fan of Vandy when you
Yeah.
started comedy. I met you in 2006.
Yeah.
When you had the Superman
Right.
joke.
Yep.
And you used to shave your own hair to cut your hair.
Yeah.
And you were living off your wife. And
yeah.
You guys used to do a podcast together, right?
we did a very
could be better.
unsuccessful podcast together. Yeah,
We got in. I always say it was our podcast was basically like hearing about Google and then just getting and selling our stock real early. I mean, we were in early.
We were in early.
Podcasts were
But the thing is, we did nothing right.
no.
Like
Yeah.
we were recording off a Mac, and we bought. You guys would know. We bought like a what was it?
Snowball.
Snowball mic, which they're not great.
Yeah.
And
The
but
Yeti
100
snowball.
There's a snowball mic. I remember going to buy it. It was $100. We each put in 50,
which was a lot. For
which
us.
was a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we bought it and we're like, we're gonna start this podcast.
Yeah.
Hooked it all up. First 10 episodes.
First 10 episodes, the mic we didn't connect it.
We didn't. Yeah.
So it was more than 10 episodes.
Oh,
we
yeah.
did like 2 years thinking that we were recording out of the Snowball. We had it plugged in.
Just the webcam
and it was
mic?
just the
webcam mic.
webcam mic
Yeah.
that was recording.
yeah.
And we were like, we're doing great. We got like 7,
Yeah.
8 listeners. It was like one of your super
Yeah.
fans and my dad
Yeah.
would listen to
Yeah.
it. And we're like, we're building.
We're building. We're building.
Yeah.
It was
Chris
yeah,
Laker.
and Chris Laker. And they it was so funny to realize though that we were never recording. I mean, it's just the audio were like it just didn't sound good.
Yeah.
Like
You never thought this mic isn't that great.
No.
You just had nothing to compare it to,
We were
or
just-
what?
I mean,
like-
dude, podcasts were so new that
Yeah.
it wasn't like you had all this stuff or you had now
Yeah.
it's like everything's so you can do them on your phone and it's professional and
Yeah.
then you
Yeah.
just couldn't. And
It was like 2008, 9.
Yeah.
So it was like, I don't even think the iPhone was out yet. Right? When did the iPhone come out?
2007. We talked
yeah,
about
we
it
talked
yesterday.
about it
So it
yesterday.
had just come out, but we could not afford the iPhone.
when you saw the iPhone come out and you could swipe how did you react to that news? Because Aaron gasped. Aaron said he remembers watching it on TV and he goes,
You go, he just dropped that
Yeah.
thing. What's this?
no,
voodoo?
not that he sees it. He just sees them talk about it on
When
TV.
Steve
I
Jobs
watched the
made the
keynote
announcement.
live. I remember watching it.
and they swiped up and he gasped.
I'd never been blown away by new technology like that.
Yeah.
I gasped.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was blown away by it, but I didn't make a noise like a.
Yeah. I mean,
Ah.
that's a spaceship going to
Yeah.
the moon. He's well. What are they going to when are they going to Mars?
Are you a noisemaker? Like,
Not really, man. That was just such a special moment
Yeah,
for me.
yeah.
I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
That's
Yeah.
funny. Some guys are noisemakers. You know, they sit in a chair like,
Yeah.
there's just always.
Oh,
a
I
noise.
make those noises.
Yeah,
for
when
sure.
they move. Like,
Yeah, I make all
Yeah.
those.
Yeah.
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 So when I moved to New York, so we talk about New York, and I moved to New York in 2004, October of 04. Started a comedy at Boston Comedy Club, which is always funny. These people that never makes sense, but there was a comedy club called Boston Comedy Club, and right when we were getting started, and that's where me and Yannis would have met. New York Comedy Club.
We met at New York Comedy
York
Club.
Comedy Club.
We used to do shows in those side rooms. There was
They-
side room, and it was a dump,
Yeah.
and there was a pipe by the stage. Do you remember
Yeah.
that had the heat in it?
Yeah.
So it was like, and like, you know, when you're working on jokes, or you just not a good comic, which is what I was. You just lean on stuff for support. And like, there was about 10 times I leaned on that pipe and just burnt my hand.
Yeah. That's New York heating.
Yeah.
Is always it's all this gas.
Yeah, you live in an apartment. It's like the heat is.
You
just
always
like,
hear like
yeah.
it sounds like tea, like you're cooking tea.
It's like
somewhere.
you're cooking tea, and your landlord controls the heat. So it's like you have the window open more in the winter because the heater's so hot than you do in the summer.
Yeah. That I do remember that. You would always have to just to balance it out because it would get so hot.
Yeah,
And doing New York, and that room was a side room, and so if you would stand on stage and you would face forward, and you would just see the wall. There could maybe be one table in front of you,
Yeah.
and then everybody had to sit to the side.
yeah.
So you'd have to turn a lot.
Yeah. You did comedy like you were crossing a highway, just
Yeah.
like looking this way, looking that way.
You'd have to tell a joke,
Yeah.
and you'd have to like let it
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
breathe all the
Yeah.
way across.
Yeah.
He did a lot of faces and stuff.
Yeah.
He's real animated.
Yeah,
like,
he used to
you
make
know.
fun of me. He would say, "Here's Yannis's act." He'd take the microphone and bang it against his head.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah,
Because I was a physical comedian. Yeah.
yeah.
Where Nate would just make him kill them with just like his mouth. I would have to like really.
It's
lean
with
into it.
words,
Yeah.
and then he would
Yeah.
be like, what am I, a cowboy? And he makes the microphone like a lasso, and then he rides it and sits on the stool. And
Yeah.
he needs everything on the stage. He's just someone that
I'd call volunteers up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I need everything but jokes. I would use everything. When I didn't have jokes, I would use everything that I had at my disposal. Yeah. Yeah.
So we started. Started in New York. You were born and raised Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah. I was about to just remember that Brattleboro show we would do every year in
Yes.
Brattleboro, Vermont.
Yeah,
That was back at like the beginning when you didn't have many credits. So you just inflate, like there's a paragraph describing who you are. Like, he does. He's a regular at New York Comedy Club. It is
yeah.
like 8 lines of stuff that you're like, that shouldn't be in your bio.
Yeah.
But you're like,
No.
I just want it to look big.
he wanted to look good.
Yeah.
That was a fun little gig.
That was a
We'd
fun
go up
little
there. it was a nice little town.
Yeah. Brattleboro.
We had it. That was the only gig I kind of had that I booked
yeah.
because they brought me
saw
up.
you, and then I think you brought me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so we'd always go up and we would drive up. That was when you started in New York, it was all about going to Vermont, Connecticut, New Jersey. Like that's where you would go and make any kind of money.
Any money. Yeah.
By money, like $300
Yeah,
maybe.
I've driven, I mean, when I started, I remember driving to like Cincinnati, Columbus for like $150 with Soul
Yeah.
Joel.
Oh,
It was like $150. And I remember you started making a little money, and it was like you drove somewhere for like $500.
Yeah.
And then that's when you start saying, like, is the money enough that I would drive
To
somewhere
get it.
to get and have someone hand me $500?
Yeah.
And if it's too little, I won't do it. But if
Yeah.
like if it's
Wow.
if the money is like, yeah, I'll drive 2 hours for someone to hand me $1,000, then
Yeah.
you would do the gig.
Yeah. That's how you would know to do it or not.
Yeah.
If it was just would you drive in, but at the beginning you're like 100 miles for $100. You're like, absolutely, yeah, I'll do that. And then it just gets more and more.
And you know what the funny thing is? Like, those days are over now because we have families and stuff, but those were the best.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just the best time.
Did you realize it then in the moment?
No, I think you realize it looking back. It's like, when you look back at like playing sports and stuff at the time, and you're like, oh man, hanging with the team and the bus was like the best. And then
Yeah.
at the time you're having fun. And when you look back, maybe it's just like because you don't have any money and it's just innocence and like, man, just off stage, the fun we would have, how hard we would laugh, and like, you know, we had a
you're
good
just
time.
you're in your world, so you're in your group, so it's you against the audience in a way. Like it's these people are coming in, you're trying to put on a good show, and there's those New York days at the beginning. I mean, I wouldn't trade that stuff in. That's what
Yeah.
made me even the comic
Yeah.
and made him the comic that he's at, that we are, is because of that. That's why I think New York comics are the best.
They are
Because we had a hang every single night. So it was, 4 or 5 years. And I was there for almost 9, but so you almost 9, but towards the end you start traveling a little bit, so you're not around each other as much. You're kind of going in and doing spots and doing a show, and you're leaving, so you're not getting to hang. But that beginning 4 or 5 years, you're around each other. I mean, more than you're around your family. I mean, you're every night for 8 hours, and it's just jokes, and it's just making each other laugh. And that's why I think New York comics,
without a doubt,
are the best.
And then when you do those first road gigs, like it's amazing because you're working, you're grinding in the city every night, and then it's like, I got a gig. And so you'd go with your friend or whatever, and it's like you're on the road, like you're a young comic on the road. And it was just like fun. You felt like you were
performing
doing
in front of an audience that you're going to a comedy club that they want to be there.
Yeah.
What made New York comics so good is we performed in front of people that didn't want to be in the room they were in.
Oh yeah.
And that was most of them. It was like tricking them into coming in. Oh, we got a free show down there. And I mean, people were just talking them in off the street.
Did you bark a lot, Yannis?
No, I didn't bark a lot.
Okay.
I didn't. I was from New York, so the way I really came up was I did like black rooms, like kind of have their own circuit down there. Like you know, black rooms always like have their own self-produced shows. Yeah. So I do a lot of those, and then I would start my own rooms, and then I just kind of got in at sort of the B and C clubs, and that's where me and Nate met. Like on the nights where if you were newer, you could get up. Like this guy Dustin Chafin, is a good friend of mine still. Dustin Chafin really hooked us both up, got us in. I started doing sets with Donnell. Donnell took me on the road to Chappelle Show tour. Donnell Rawlings, another comedian. That was early on. And then, we would drive and do any gig. Soul Joel would have a lot of gigs in Jersey. And like,
you would find someone that would produce a lot of gigs. And so then he would have like, Soul Joe would have me, him, Soder, Vecchione. A lot of us would do a lot of his gigs. I remember doing Soul Joe gigs. Some would no one would show up.
Sojo?
Soul Joe.
Soul Joe.
By the way, Soul Joe's cooking right now.
Yeah.
He's the only club like in the Northeast.
Like outdoor shows,
He's
right?
getting like Seinfeld to do it. It went from like
he did.
I'm just saying like all the good comics are doing it now. Yeah. Because there's like nothing else going on, and
he just knew how to run shows. I mean, he just knew how to do it. But we were around him when he was starting out too. So some of those first shows. Now he's cooking. Now he's actually he makes and doing really good shows.
He's got his own club. He's got his own club in Royersford, PA.
Oh wow,
that's where Big J got attacked on stage, right?
Yeah, by a fan. Yeah, that's what happens when you go on the Legion of Skanks. Yeah. They love you so much they hate you.
Yeah. They when we do, I remember doing one Soul Joe gig when no one was there, and it's like you still got to go up, and you're like, I don't want to, let's just not do it. But it's like to get the money, you got to do something. You're doing a show for like one guy.
I think,
but that was at the beginning when he was still figuring out his world.
Yeah, he was like us starting out.
Yeah, he was like us starting out.
He quit his job in like sales, and is like, this is what I want to do. For you, like you would not have become the monster you are without New York.
No.
And what was always really impressive about Nate is, in New York, you really had to grab him. Because in New York, they're going like, they look at you for, if it's a free show, first of all, forget it. They could just walk out. But it's like, they're looking at you going like, hey man, I could be here. I could be doing a million things. It's not that special. And you were like an understated comic.
Yeah.
So like you being in New York, you had to like, if you're making people laugh, if someone who just stands there and like Nate does and makes people crack up, that's a dude who's really funny because you got to really perform to get these guys. You know what I mean? And you would do it.
Yeah.
And you learn.
You had to learn how to do it.
Yeah. And I think you got better and better and better. Yeah. And only out of necessity, because if you're in another place, you wouldn't have had to do that.
You have no choice. Yeah. You're in another place where people want to be there. I mean, that's what New York teaches you. And that's why, I mean, the comics that are in New York that people don't even know who they are better than most famous comedians. I mean, they're just so good because they're just constantly like almost having to talk your way onto a show, and you're having to convince this audience that. I mean, I remember people that wouldn't speak English.
Yeah,
you'd have a lot of people that. I remember going to Broadway Comedy Club, and we would do those shows. I mean, I would do those shows. It'd be midnight. It'd be midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. We'd be on.
Those
stage.
were like first club shows.
Those were the first club. That room ended up becoming. Dustin ran that upstairs, It would start at midnight, and that room was great.
It was great.
It was great. And so we would all just hang out in the hallway. The crowd, I mean, it started out not that many people in the crowd to then be in these packed shows.
Yeah.
And you would go on stage and you would just, I mean, it became a thing, and it was just a kind of a smaller room that could come nice and packed. One of my favorite rooms in the city.
It was actually like a perfect comedy room.
Yeah.
It was just
We got
boxed
left
right from-
alone up there.
Yeah.
You know, so it was like Dustin, we'd all just run it. We'd help Dustin run it. Like,
Yeah.
but you just got left alone. You were just up there in your own little world. They
Got-
come in with a ticket.
You get paid a drink ticket, no money,
Yeah.
just a drink ticket. You get one drink ticket, you get yourself a Coke or a
Yeah.
water,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Some sort of juice.
Some
yeah.
Yeah. And you would just
Good,
be
just
there.
keep it rolling. No edit job
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
We would do it, but it was just such a, I mean, I can't say enough that I definitely say, because when people ask what kind of comic I am or where I always say I'm a New York comic.
You are a New York comic.
Because that's
Yeah.
where it was.
Yeah.
Now now you kind of go, and you know, I got Zanies here in Nashville, and that's my home club, and
they're lucky to have you.
that's what I tell them every
Yeah,
day.
You tell them every day. I'm Nate Bargatze.
There we go.
Oh, yeah, I forget. Not even that, right?
No,
This is what-
what do you think cursing is?
I don't know. I forgot
That's
I was
the
doing
problem
a
with New
children's
York.
network. Yeah.
That's the problem in New York, dude. Like y'all, I would hear stuff on the subway.
Come on, that word I just
children.
said, that's like the marijuana of curses.
No,
it's
it's-
not that bad.
How hard
People
is it?
think it's bad, but you can smoke it.
How hard is it to not? How hard is it just to not? I mean, what do y'all do?
I mean,
growing
I
up?
have been so good here.
We've been going
I
for
mean-
maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah, I'm doing a church show. I'm doing good. If this was the only complaint that one show, I would get my money. You'll hand me an
Yeah.
envelope after the show. I could have been doing this in a pulpit.
I know. Is there not enough? Is there not enough shows cursing for you? Is there not enough?
Don't you guys forgive?
Huh?
Us.
Not you.
I'm also Christian.
We
I'm
do.
a
Yeah. You're not going to be in the main gates, but you're going to be up there.
You're gonna have to talk. You're gonna have
Yeah.
to talk me in.
I'm like,
You're gonna tug me
we
in.
will always talk through a fence.
Yeah. That was some of the jokes we used to. You'd be like,
Yeah.
Nate would just go, yeah. I would just say something. He was like, well, at least I'm not going to hell. So, yeah.
New York has that though. I remember riding on the subway, and you would see the language in New York. It would blow me away just to see. I mean, kids my daughter's age, and I mean, it's like listening to construction workers. I mean, they're just like rah, like,
Yeah.
and you're like,
And
what?
it was
And
like
the
your
parents
mom,
talk
yeah.
like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
your cursing was not even
Not even a thing. It's
Not even a thing.
No, like even my in-laws now, they're from Long Island, which is
Yeah.
like its own country.
Yeah.
And we just curse.
Yeah.
We do curse.
you just
There's no, like, yeah.
But there's no power behind it, right?
No, it's
just
just fun.
like,
it's
yeah.
words.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know, but
No,
I
I
appreciate
get
no
no-
cussing. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no one listen. There's no one. I'm not getting offended by the cursing. It's
No, I've
we
hung
just
out
didn't
with
do
you.
it.
So, yeah.
No, yeah, but it's
Yeah.
it's the idea of like I would have grown up and you would have never used that language.
You never
We
curse.
used it.
You don't curse.
I don't
And you don't
no.
curse in your act. You don't curse in life. And yeah, you're committed. You know, it's good.
Well, I always think if a young comic's listening to this, if you want to practice not cursing, you got to practice in your regular life.
You should.
You got to get it out there.
And it is good not to curse because it gives you a wider appeal, which
Yeah.
is good.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Well,
it's true.
It's
Yeah.
well, the idea of it too now is that's all so many people do that I took it as a comic. It's like, this makes me sound different. If I don't curse, I choose different words to use where you would curse.
Yeah.
And so that to me, I think is your rhythms and all this stuff and these different words you choose. It just makes you sound different.
Yeah.
And you stick out. Like it's even more about that. Just you sound different. And so if we're in a field of everybody that we're all making jokes about only so many topics. So you got to have something that makes you sound different. And then that was a way to do that.
I think it's impressive too. As a comic, I just think it's impressive to not curse because I think it's a little harder, to be honest with you. And there's only a few guys who can do it. You know, it's like Gaffigan, you, Seinfeld,
Ryan Hamilton.
Ryan Hamilton, Regan. Maybe Sebastian doesn't curse. I don't think he curses. Maybe
Just a little bit.
he'll do
but
like one
yeah,
or two, but
yeah.
he could go without him.
He could go without
He
him.
does very little cursing. Nobody else.
I think if you barely do it, you should do it without it.
Who? Sinbad. And by the
Yeah.
way, Sinbad is hysterical.
Sinbad's
Yeah.
great. man.
Sinbad is maybe the most
Yeah.
underrated comic. He's my father-in-law's favorite comic.
Yeah.
And he's a Sicilian guy from Long Island.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Jim Brewer might be pretty clean.
Jim
now.
Brewer's clean now.
Yeah.
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 Jim Brewer, he's
Yeah,
clean
it's
now.
pretty interesting. I mean, it's just in New York, no one was starting but we would do that was the hard part is we would do all these uncensored shows,
Yeah.
and so you'd have to just do them.
Yeah, that's how we started too. It was called the Uncensored
Yeah.
Show. So you'd have like 10 new comics who were not that great, just going and then Nate would come up and be like, "Hey y'all, like,
Parking's tough.
yeah, you from Tennessee? Like I have a friend that lives in Kentucky." It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, well,
Yeah.
what was that? How was that joke go?
Florida.
Florida.
Yeah, I'm from Tennessee.
I got a
Like,
cousin
I got a
that
cousin lives in Florida. Oh, that's good. Are we
Yeah.
just naming states
Yeah,
now?
they're naming states.
Yeah. We have a Compass.
Yeah.
I had a lot of Compass material.
Yeah. One early joke you had that I really always thought was good was your friends would just tell you, "Yeah, man, just park it there." And you're like, "Is it legal?" They're like, "Yeah." They don't, because your friends don't care if you get a ticket.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So they just tell you, and then you'd be like, "Just pull it over there." You're like,
You're
"There's a
good.
car on fire over there." No,
Yeah,
you're good
no,
right
you're
there.
fine.
Yeah, you're
They don't
fine.
care.
They don't care.
Because they just went out of the car.
Yeah.
So they don't care what happens to your car.
Yeah.
That was a very New York joke of like
Uh-huh.
people getting your car.
Yeah, you guys don't have to pull into spots here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
No.
No. New York, I could park.
Yeah. You're a very talented driver.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know you drive with 2 feet. You know that?
I drive. Yeah.
You drive with 2 feet.
Really?
Like Walter White's kid, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was Miss Woods was a teacher at my high school, and she would drive me home, and she always drove with 2 feet, left for the brake, right for the gas, and so I've always done that.
You learned it from Miss Woods?
I just saw her doing it, and then so it always stuck with me, and then I just kind of started doing it. It makes sense. Once you get used to it, I know how to brake with my left foot.
Yeah.
It's because you don't know how to brake with your left foot, but I do. Now I will switch back and forth, but I can drive with both. I drive with both feet.
But in New York, you were only driving that way.
Yeah,
So
I was
only
driving-
recently
yeah.
did you go back to the one foot.
Well, it's like I'll still do it, and it just kind of it kind of flows. I
Yeah.
do both, but I could park. I mean, my best parallel parking was I parked touching bumpers of both cars.
Yeah.
I got
Wow.
into a spot and
Wow.
I was touching both cars.
You're a smooth driver.
Yeah.
You're a good driver. And you
Yeah.
used to drive professional, like not professionally, but like
I delivered FedEx when I first
Yeah.
moved to New York, and so
Yeah.
I would deliver in Manhattan was easy for FedEx because it's all grid, so it's easy just go up and back and forth, and you
Yeah.
get a lot of tickets there because you couldn't really park, so you just had to double park and run in and try to drop the package off real fast. But the hard places to deliver was Queens, and because you go to Queens and the streets were just there's no grid, and so I mean this is back you had to have I did a map, so you had to actually use a map, and I remember delivering. We had a big snowstorm once. I got caught out in that and had to. I mean, I went sliding down MLK Boulevard, I believe, and I was just sliding down the hill, and I had to get it turned. And I remember some guy was going to help me move, but he wanted me to give him money to help him. And I mean, I was like, I don't have any money. Like I was 20, 5 years old, no money, and I was like, I don't. And then he's like, and then he left me, and then I finally got it, like where I got it where I could just slide all the way back down the hill. And then I drove back to the.
we were all so poor back then that like it was impressive that Nate had a house. He had like it wasn't a house, but he had like a living room and like you had like a grown up living space.
Oh, when Laura moved
yeah,
there.
Yeah.
And then we were, 'cause she worked.
She worked.
So we just had an apartment.
Yeah.
But I think our apartment was like $1,200 a month.
Yeah.
And,
Which was a lot to us.
Which was
Yeah.
was insane.
Yeah. I mean, I lived in like a rent control apartment with Jesse. Like we were all like living. I don't know how
Rent controlled is huge in New York.
huge.
We're talking about New York. There, rent controlled that's what you wanted.
Oh,
There was people that lived in the village, in the West Village, and people would try to get them out, and they would just keep passing it to their family, right?
Yeah. There's a loophole in the law. So it's like, because the market keeps going up, New York real estate is so expensive, they would carve out these apartments that like you were not subject to the market. So they would be capped
Yeah.
in order to keep
Wow.
New York for New Yorkers, which you'll probably see in Nashville soon. People
Yeah.
are like, we need some locals here.
Yeah.
They need to be able to afford this place.
But I mean, people be paying like $500 a month for a place that they could sell for $4 million.
Yeah.
Really?
but they can't
But
sell
they
it.
can't sell it
Can't sell
because,
it.
Wow.
and then they don't ever leave.
They do that to make it
Yeah.
affordable for
Yeah.
people who grew up there.
Yeah.
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 Pretty crazy.
They should start doing that here.
So how did you get yours?
My rent control?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was through a friend who grew up. My neighborhood, Park Slope, got really gentrified. So my buddy who grew
When you grew up in Park Slope was
well, Park Slope, where I lived, was always kind of good. But it was
Yeah.
kind of good. And then,
Yeah.
like, New York's the type of place you go one block, you
Yeah.
walk
Yeah.
one block, and you're in a totally different world.
Yeah.
So it's like we used to like not go below 6th Avenue, which is 3 blocks from my house.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, so it wasn't like you had to get in a car and go to the bad side of town. It was like, the bad side of town was like, you could see it, you know? It's like I guess Israelis and Palestine. It's like they don't like each other, but they're that close.
Yeah.
You're just going like, I can't go over there. My mom said I can't cross this street.
Yeah.
You could really just go to the edge of the street, and that's what it was. So, but then it got like really gentrified. It became like, I mean, all of New York did.
Yeah.
It just exploded.
Mhm.
So he lived down on Fifth Avenue in Park Slope, which was like a lot cheaper. And his family had a rent control apartment. So he was one of my roommates. And then he left, and me and Jesse stayed there. And so we would just write the check by money order.
Mhm.
So the landlord just thought he was still there.
Yeah.
And then he sort of found out slowly, like after we were there 8 years.
Yeah.
And he found out that he wasn't there because him and his wife at the time bought a house in like North Carolina. So then the landlord would come and like knock on our door, and we would just hide.
Yeah.
We just wouldn't answer the door and
Yeah.
not make a noise. We would just sit
How
there.
often would you have to do that?
We probably did it about 10 times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We just pretended not to.
I mean,
go.
imagine just you're living in an apartment and you have to act like you don't live in
Yeah.
that apartment. Like just the anxiety of that.
Yeah, it was
Uh-huh.
it was anxious. Yeah,
Yeah.
If the doorbell, and it was always more anxious if I was alone. It's funner to go through with someone, like
Yeah.
hiding from
Yeah.
an authority figure. I guess I don't
Yeah.
know. So
And because I mean, how much was your apartment?
the apartment was $900 with 3-bedroom.
Yeah, Park Slope.
Yeah, and it was like you remember how small
I
it was?
remember it. Yeah. It was a good apartment.
Good
I mean,
apartment.
it was a New York apartment
Yeah,
where
I
you would
mean-
think 2 bedrooms and then
Yeah,
a living
we
room.
painted
and
the
kitchen.
living room.
Yeah.
We did everything, and it was $900. So it was my rent was $300, which in New York is $1,000 is unheard of. In
Yeah.
New York.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
$1,200 that's an affordable. And he
Park
was-
Slope, I don't think you could get.
No, you
you
can't-
couldn't rent a bedroom
No.
off
Yeah.
of someone's apartment
right?
for $900.
No, you could not. You
Hmm.
could not rent a bedroom for less than like $1,500. So we had a whole apartment. It was a tiny apartment and very old, but it was $300 I paid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's how I was like able to do comedy. You have to figure out a way to do
Yeah.
comedy. Like you
Yeah.
can't you have to work some sort of job or have a wife with a job or live off a girlfriend or sell
Yeah. Sell candy.
sell candy. Yeah. It's a joke.
Yeah, it's a joke.
Don't break the law, guys. Don't break
Yeah.
the law. It's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's some New York?
Well, I had a question. Since the show is supposed to be about the whole state of New York, did
Hit me, beefcake.
the New York City?
Hit me, Brewster.
Do you look at the rest of the state very differently?
Yeah, New York is Colin Quinn's book, which I recommend. It's a really good book. He just wrote
Yeah.
about all the states, talking about states.
Yeah.
His first line about New York is the best one I've ever heard. Colin Quinn. He said, "New York, the quiet state with a big mouth."
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, is that like so?
Yeah.
New York City is like New York State's big mouth,
Yeah.
and then the rest of New York is quiet, bucolic, and
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Tennessee. It's
Yeah.
every other state.
it's like Tennessee.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then New York City just.
That's how America is.
Yeah.
It's Nateland. You go
Nateland.
at 5-10
Everywhere's
miles.
Nateland.
Yeah. They're just like, who's your favorite comic? You know, and they all got that accent for some reason.
Yeah.
You know, you could be in Maine. They're like, what's up, buddy?
Yeah.
What's going on? I'm going to Nate Bargatze concert, bringing my kids, my grandkids, their grandkids, my grandma, the great grandma. Everybody's welcome.
Yeah.
My pastor, my priest, my teacher's going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So the state, the nickname's Empire State.
Yeah.
Do you know the state bird?
The state bird. Now that's a good question. Let me just give me a second here. Is it a pigeon there? Is it a pigeon? I would figure it'd be a pigeon or a squirrel or something.
New York City is the pigeon, and
Yeah.
for the state, it's the bluebird.
A bluebird.
Bluebird.
Pigeon. That's y'all just. I mean,
Yeah.
y'all just really went with it.
I mean, there's
They're
pigeons-
everywhere,
They're
so it's
everywhere.
like-
yeah, they're like
you're
rats with rings.
Yeah.
Rat,
Y'all don't care for them.
No, we don't care for
Is
them.
that why you have to have your windows? You got to have.
Well, you know, New
like
York
knives?
is yeah. New York is a rough place. Like there was a little while where like there was somebody like harming the pigeons.
Yeah.
I'll say harming. They were harming
Yeah.
the pigeons, and they're like,
Really?
yeah, he had to like the guy had to get caught.
He was just doing. I mean,
Like
how
one
many
person?
did he get?
Yeah, he was a serial harmer of
Yeah.
pigeons. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
doing good,
You're
producer.
doing- yeah.
I'm doing good wherever
Yeah.
the producer is.
Yeah.
You could say serial killer. It's the other words that we don't.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He was a serial killer of pigeons. He
Yeah.
was like, killing pigeons.
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, just and it was his news story.
yeah. They had to find him. Yeah,
Yeah.
He was like,
Were people cheering him on? You know,
probably some
Yeah.
people were secretly
just
cheering
let
him
him
on.
let him have at it.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
Yeah.
He was like the son of Sam of killing pigeons.
Yeah.
Just sitting in his living room, like
Were you-
talking
well,
to a dog.
son-
I'll get them all.
With Son of Sam, you were in New York when that went.
I
down.
was like a 1-year-old baby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was
Wow.
that was a crazy summer in New York because there was a blackout, meaning the electricity went down. It was a hot summer, and then
You don't think we don't know what blackout means? Is that what you think?
Well,
where
y'all
you're
got
at?
generators,
Yeah.
so
yeah.
I mean, it goes down. We go to
Yeah.
the back of.
Yeah.
We're okay, babe. Yeah, we had the full blackout, and then there was this roaming serial killer who was killing women in cars.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Son of Sam.
that's why we need comedy, guys. It's
Yeah.
dark.
A lot of dogs on that route.
Yeah,
That's
Empire State. Why do they call it the Empire State? Does it have anything to do with Jay-Z?
It does not. George Washington called it that.
Oh, good old G.
Oh, because he saw the Empire State Building and he thought, oh.
Yeah.
and he's
That
like,
makes sense, yeah.
makes sense. He
Yeah.
goes, oh yeah, it's called that.
Empire State Building, yeah.
5 U.S. presidents have been born in New York.
Right.
Martin Van Buren.
What is it?
Oh. Those are tough.
What is
Those are tough. Those are tough.
Yeah,
Those are, and I only slipped twice.
yeah, but those are the ones.
Yeah,
'Cause
you
it's
could
built
just go
into your
silent
rhythm.
on them. Yeah, they go silent on them, and it'll be fun
Yeah.
for the audience.
Yeah,
Not even that bad. I said darn.
yeah.
I said darn, and I didn't.
we don't put
yeah.
up with anything.
Yeah, you don't put up with anything. You know, you
Yeah.
can't even say darn it.
Yeah.
What do you do when you stub your toe?
I mean, there's plenty of words,
Yeah.
man. There's a lot
Jiminy
of words.
Crickets.
You know,
Yeah,
you just say what everybody else on Earth says.
Yeah.
You're not original.
I'm not
and
original, yeah.
that's a big That's a big problem.
it is.
That's where we're at.
Actually, I got some original ones if you want to hear them.
Yeah, I bet you do.
I
Yeah.
got some goodies.
Yeah, I bet we did. That'll be for the Patreon.
Listen.
no, we don't.
Let Bacon speak. Go ahead, Bacon.
Yeah.
Do you know who the 5 presidents are from New York?
I don't know, bookhead.
Could you name one?
5 presidents from New York.
Well, Trump is
Teddy
the-
Roosevelt.
Yep.
Hillary Clinton. She
Well,
won that election.
This is
Yeah.
born in New York.
I'm joking. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Born in New York.
Trump, was he born in New York?
Trump,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Trump
And
was born
then,
in Queens.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Trump, Teddy
Yeah.
Roosevelt.
Yeah. All
I
right,
don't-
that's
I don't know
fine.
the 3, yeah.
Yeah. I don't
Franklin D. Roosevelt, Millard Fillmore,
Yeah.
and Martin Van Buren.
Yeah.
And There's
Yeah.
a gang in New York, the Van Buren boys.
But
Yeah.
Van Buren, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brooklyn Bates. Why not,
Yeah.
right? They
Yeah.
love it. I mean, they're going
Yeah.
crazy at home. They're throwing towels,
Yeah.
calling
Yeah.
bacon.
Yeah.
New York City has more spoken languages than any city in the world.
Yeah.
Over
Yeah.
800.
Yeah. And that's
That's
just was
how
Nate's
diverse.
old neighborhood. Yeah.
That's how diverse Giannis is.
It's New York is a universe crammed into a city. I mean, there's countries you don't even know were countries till you meet somebody
Yeah.
and they're like, "I'm from Bolivia." You're like,
Yeah.
"What's that?"
You speak any other languages?
Uh,
Can you hang
a
in
little
any
bit,
of
a
them?
little bit of Greek? That's
Yeah?
it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's where his family's from.
yeah.
It's all
Greek.
Are there a lot of
Mr.
Greek
Mr.
speakers in the
Panos.
wild, like in New York? Like
Greek
if you-
speakers in the wild.
Astoria.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
When
you
is
just-
Astoria-
These guys got to. I mean, he hit one zinger and then you hit with a very funny way of saying something. Are there
Yeah.
any Greek? And you're too much of a headliner.
Yeah.
I mean, give these guys some credit. What was the one he hit before? It was
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
You didn't even remember.
I
You
don't
should have
know.
wrote it down. He
Yeah.
said it's the only funny thing you've ever said.
Yeah. And then what did
kidding.
he say?
He just said, "Are there any Greek
speakers in the wild in
That's
New
out in
York?
the wild.
funny
Yeah.
way of
Yeah. It's
saying
funny.
it?" But
Yeah.
yeah,
We're highlighted.
yeah.
And, we're making it louder. Or
Yeah,
something,
you told me
know?
like when they say something funny, like confetti comes out or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's still up there. Yeah. We're waiting to pull it.
yeah. That's funny, man. I like that.
yeah.
There's some Greeks
Congratulations,
we do.
Aaron. Congratulations.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it, guys.
They're
If I wasn't here, it would just
yeah,
go.
we'd probably be talking.
Yeah.
And there's Astoria. Astoria is
Stories for the
great.
Greeks, yeah.
That's all
That's
Greek,
for the
right?
Greeks. It's got-
Yeah.
You have them here. Whatever
Yeah.
diner you have in Nashville is owned by a Greek.
Yeah.
Most of the restaurants you'll probably see in Nashville, there's a lot of Greeks down here, right?
There's the Greek. What's the Greek diner in Astoria where all the money is on the ground?
Well, the money isn't great because at weddings they throw it at you.
Yeah.
Dancers, we're the original Make It Rain. Like
Yes.
that's Greeks
That's
are
a
the
Greek thing.
original. Yeah, we
You-
throw the money if you're dancing at you.
Yeah. At a wedding.
At a wedding.
Yeah.
or
Did we do
something.
that at your wedding? We did.
Yeah, it happened
Yeah,
at
yeah,
my
that's
wedding.
right,
Yeah, you
that's
were
right.
upstairs
Yeah.
rudely playing
Yeah.
video games and watching
Yeah.
the game while the wedding was going on.
We're watching the UFC fight.
Yeah, you're watching a UFC fight.
He
yeah.
got married at a castle.
Yeah.
Giannis comes from.
Where was
Giannis married into old money.
Yeah, where was your wife, by the way? Why didn't she come to the wedding?
I forget.
Yeah, it would have been nice to have because she would have like been.
She would have loved
would've
it.
kept you downstairs.
She would have
I mean,
loved it.
that's what comics do. They come to your wedding and then they go upstairs like they're on the road, like they're doing a gig and they play video games.
We watched UFC fight.
Yeah, like Dan
And
Soder
then-
brought his video game console.
Yes.
It's like, grow up. You're 47.
Yeah.
You have a roommate
Yeah.
who's got gray hair. You
Yeah.
can't have a roommate with gray hair.
Yeah. Yeah.
Am I making fun of the old people
Yeah.
now? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're old. So
Exactly.
I think
I'm allowed to say it.
you are.
Yeah.
The Woodstock Music Festival was actually held on a dairy farm in Bethel, New York.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
yes.
Woodstock would not allow it.
What? I thought it happened though.
It happened,
did.
but the city of Woodstock would not allow the Woodstock Music
Oh,
Festival.
I didn't know that's why it was
I didn't
called
know
that.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was an illegal happening.
Yep. So
Yeah.
Woodstock said no, so they moved it to Bethel.
Yeah.
Lake Placid, New York. Only
I've
city
been to
to
Lake Placid.
host the Winter Olympics twice.
Yeah, I've been to Lake Placid. Great movie, great documentary about Lake Placid. Alligator movie.
Wow. So Olympics were twice at Lake Placid.
Yeah.
Winter
Winter
Olympics.
Olympics. Yep.
Nobody cares about the Winter Olympics.
Yeah.
Except for like Finland and Russia
Yeah.
and Canadians.
So I met there's a chiropractor here that did bobsled.
Just call him
And,
a fake doctor.
Yeah.
There's,
And
a,
then
there's a
so
fake doctor here.
chiropractor.
Fake
You're
doctor.
against chiropractors.
They're just not real
Yeah,
doctors.
A lot of people do get mad at them.
Yeah, because they're not. It's not a real thing. It's
Mhm.
like they just like massage you. You know?
Yeah.
You may have a chiropractor fan out there. I support the hustle. I support all hustles.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if you can claim to do like
Yeah.
talk to whomever and you
Yeah.
can make a buck, that's
Yeah.
a great show.
Yeah.
That is a great. I know a lot of actual comedians who you are 10 times more entertaining than.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean nobody should ever ruin those.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like it's funner to be like
Yeah.
the
Go to
Long
your
Island. Yeah,
chiropractor
there's like a housewife in Long Island
that hears people.
who can hear. Yeah, then
Yeah.
like if you go there,
What's
and-
her name?
The
Long Island
Medium.
Yeah.
Yeah. She
Yeah.
goes in. I'm from Long
Teresa
Island.
Caputo.
Yeah.
I
Right?
hear like, do you have like a dog? Does anyone have a dog?
Yeah.
Where it starts with a B? And no, everyone's like, no, it's not a B. It's a, so let me get this right. You can talk to dead relatives, but you got a bad connection.
Yeah.
What are you talking
It's a
through?
tough connection.
You got T-Mobile.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you have that
They're
great
far
power?
away, dude.
Yeah, they're far away. I guess
Yeah.
that's what it is. Like
Yeah.
I hear a faint. It's like
Yeah.
you don't want to get better service.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't we have one here? The Music City Medium?
The Music City Medium.
Yeah. I don't know. Do we?
Yeah.
I mean, those dudes crush.
Yeah.
John
He-
Edward, remember how he would crush?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the chiropractor. So he won I think they won I want to say silver medal in the bobsled. But I asked him about it. I was like, how is it? Because obviously we're in America. You're not like who the bobsledders are. But he was like Russia and all those places. I mean, that is
Yeah.
the Super Bowl to them.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
they lose it and they go so fast. And I was like, can you ever? I mean, there's other like tournaments and stuff that they play in, and it'll be just, I mean, thousands and thousands of people at these things. And I was like, can you hear them like cheering? Because you're moving so fast. He's like, you hear like he's like, you go through it, you hear like, ah. Like that's how like.
Oh, as you
Like
pass
Yeah, as
Seinfeld
you
joke.
pass them, yeah, just
Oh,
like,
wow.
hey. Like and it just as it just seemed like that's all you hear. You just because it's just so loud,
Yeah.
and you got your helmet on and just.
Yeah. Did
And
we
just
do good? I don't.
yeah,
I
I
couldn't
don't
hear the
know.
crowd. Yeah.
I heard something,
Mhm.
but
It's a
they
great-
they lose it.
It's a great sport where you get to watch the sport for a split second.
I mean, just a
Yeah.
split second, and that's all guys that are like sprinters because he was a sprinter,
Yeah.
and so the ones that can't make it in the actual competition, but they're very fast, they tend to be like, "Hey, why don't you come do this because
Yeah.
you're fast and you can run?" And so,
That's funny.
Was that what the Jamaican bobsled team? Weren't they
Yeah.
sprinters?
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah, and look how good they did.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. They have a good, cool movie about it. Cool runnings.
Yeah, cool
Yeah.
runnings.
Yeah.
John Candy.
He was in that.
Yeah, he's the
I've
coach,
seen Cool
right?
Runnings. I didn't
Yeah.
know he was the. All right. I've seen a John Candy movie.
Yeah.
Right.
Question: all-time greats. Is John Candy in it?
Yeah, we've talked.
Yeah.
I'm a big John Candy fan. I think John Candy's unbelievable.
All time great what?
All-time
Comedic actors?
Comedic actor. Like if you put him in
no.
there,
Yeah.
like John.
He wouldn't know.
John Belushi
I mean,
or
Yeah, I like him
Yeah.
more than John Belushi.
yeah.
Yeah.
That. Wow.
Yeah.
Will
Yeah.
Ferrell more than Will Ferrell. Gene
Gene
Wilder? Some good ones.
I mean, yeah. This is I don't know. This is when you guys watched movies.
So
So
yeah,
Gene
you're
Wilder,
3 years younger
yeah,
than me.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I love when you act like you're in your 40s and
Yeah.
your face says 55.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Your hair has said different since your 30s.
Yeah,
I
my
mean,
hair was
yeah,
great quick.
Yeah, you
That's why I shaved it.
yeah, you and Anderson Cooper looked 50 at 25.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a big John Candy fan. I think he's very underrated. And,
That's the thing.
that
That's
people
what I
forget about.
That's what I brought up because some people like it came up recently somewhere I was at, and like half the people were yes, half the people were like, eh.
Well, the one he's compared is John Candy or Chris Farley.
Chris Farley, come on, dude. Who's funnier, Chris Farley?
Well, it's Chris Farley was so funny.
Yeah.
And then I would almost think you could put Chris Farley and Will Ferrell more together than John Candy. And the fact that if John Candy would have given you if he would have been alive still, the roles he could have given you would have been crazy.
Yeah.
He was a very, very good actor, and he's just so funny.
I agree.
But Chris Farley died very early.
Yeah, but I mean, Chris Farley, I think would have, I think was like good, and it was like just in this compact
Mm-hmm.
life. Where John Candy, if he would have still been here, I mean, he would have won an Oscar. Like
He was great.
like
He was
like
funny, man.
that kind of guy.
He was funny. He was funny.
Yeah,
There's,
he's
and
great.
there's a couple classics: Plane, Trains, Automobiles.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
His
Yeah.
role in Vacation was very funny when he played the
The park worker.
yeah
Yeah.
The how you say it? Adirondack Park.
Adirondacks. Yeah.
It's the largest national park in the United States.
Wow.
Over 6 million acres. It's larger than Yellowstone, Glacier, Everglades, and Grand Canyon combined.
Dude.
Wow.
For real?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
according
That's
to the
crazy.
internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes
Yeah.
up. It looked like a third of New York State was.
Bigger than Yellowstone?
So would y'all go to upstate New York a lot? Like, or do y'all?
I live
yeah.
up. Where I
Not
live
now
is
you do, but I'm
technically-
saying growing up. Like, is it?
You'd go to camp. I went to camp up there. Like,
Yeah.
I remember like.
'Cause camp's a big
Seems
deal
on
in
a
New York,
map.
right?
Yeah, like because you get out of the city, so your parents send you to camp for like 4 8 weeks.
And you're just gone.
You're just
4 day
gone.
weeks.
Or you just gone.
So that's
I
a
went-
giant thing.
That's
in New
yeah,
York.
The
yeah.
one below it. Right
Yeah.
there. Look how well the state of New York up there. Look how big.
Man.
Yeah.
Yo,
Yeah.
most people don't know that.
Yeah.
I thought Yellowstone was. the
I mean, that's
biggest.
like a
that's-
third of the state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild.
I would. So like camp.
Wow.
Did y'all go to camp? We never had camps. You go to
Ah,
camps?
Not they were like a couple weeks at most.
Yeah. I mean,
that
New
went
York.
to, just
Their kids
sporadically.
hated. Their parents hated their kids.
Yeah.
And I mean, the whole summer. I mean, 4 to 8 weeks.
Well, you got to let them see some grass every
Yeah.
now and then.
I
you
know, but 4 to 8. Would your parents come visit you?
Yeah, it would be Parents' Day. It'd be like one Parents' Day, but we loved it. It was
Yeah.
like a time away. It was
Yeah.
like the best.
yeah.
After like the first or 2 days of like homesickness, because you're a kid, and
Yeah.
I would always get homesickness because I'm a weak person.
Yeah.
So, but then after that, it's like the greatest.
Yeah, the greatest.
Greatest. Yeah.
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 You do everything for the first time there. Read your first book.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. So then,
Getting the
then-
crew laughing again,
yeah.
Nate. I'm
Yeah.
crushing.
yeah. And then you would do, because we, I mean, I've seen up there where those camps are. I always find that interesting because I don't, going to camps for that long, to me, is every New Yorker has camp stories. Like it's such a common thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be packed. I mean, it
Packed.
just, yeah.
Yeah, because I think maybe the Jewish people in New York kind of started that kind of a summer retreat, like because they would go to the Catskills where
Yeah.
comedy really started.
Yeah.
The Catskills is in New York. That would have been a good fact to pull up because we're all comedians, but comedy really started.
It's on here. I just
man.
thought maybe you let me get to it.
You don't
Yeah.
put it. I'm sorry. You never put it past
What is the Catskills fact?
bananas.
I don't know. I made that up.
Oh, you don't have it? You missed it?
It's a comedy episode.
But yeah, the Catskills. So they
Yeah.
would go. There was a train that would take them out of New York City, and they would go to these resorts in the Catskills for the summer, and comedians would do shows and whatnot. you know?
Yeah.
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 You would crush back then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crush. Yeah. You met your first Jewish person when you moved to New York.
I moved with a Jewish person.
Yeah.
To
Oh,
New
so
York.
but that
From
was
Chicago.
But he was the first Jewish person. You
I mean, I believe so. Like he was,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
no one ever. New York was the first time I ever moved where people really asked, like,
Mm.
where are you from? Where's
Yeah.
your family
Yeah.
from? Where's
Yeah.
your name from?
Yeah.
That was no one ever asked that here.
Well, my buddy Chris DiStefano, who we
Yeah.
do the podcast History Hyenas together,
Yeah.
History Hyenas. He was from a neighborhood in Queens that was like so working class and whatever. He didn't meet his first Jewish person until he was 23.
Yeah.
And that's in New York.
That's in New York.
That's in New
crazy.
York where it's
Yeah.
like, that's crazy.
very blue collar, very,
And very
just Queens.
just Queens. He
just
grew up in
Queens.
Queens, around the border of Brooklyn.
With Queens and Brooklyn, they would have mixed. You didn't.
No, back then you didn't move around. There was no
Yeah.
internet. You knew your neighborhood, and like he even says he thinks the world should go back to that. Like it was better before
Yeah.
the internet, when like you knew the people in your neighborhood, and like you didn't worry about like what was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Would y'all go to Manhattan a lot?
I would go to Manhattan.
Yeah.
Going to Manhattan was like a big deal. You had to have like some reason to go to Manhattan. There's some people who didn't go to Manhattan ever.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
just be in Brooklyn, just
be in
never.
Brooklyn, yeah, never go.
And then, like, have you ever been there? You're like, no.
You got to think how
Maybe school.
You
You go
never
school
go.
trip.
like maybe a school trip to the
School
museum.
trip, you take a subway.
Yeah, you take the subway to the museum.
Yeah.
Maybe that. You got to imagine how big and dense New York City is. Long Island alone, which is behind New York City, has 9 million people in Long Island.
Yeah.
9 million.
Yeah.
Nashville's what? 1, 2, 3, 4 million?
Yeah.
Well, just Nashville itself is like 600,000, but the greater Nashville area is like 1 million.
1 million. So Long Island on its own
Yeah.
has 9 million. You're
Yeah.
talking about the New York metropolitan area, you're talking 20, 25, 30 million people who
Yeah.
probably live like.
Well,
are
there's
in-
19 million people in all of New York State. So
Wow. It's like, but then you add Jersey. You got to add Jersey and
Okay.
Connecticut. That's why I call it the New York area,
Yeah.
because people live in like Stamford, Connecticut, and they live
And
in
still
Jersey.
go to New York.
That's why they live
Do you
there.
remember riding the subway for the first time?
Yeah.
alone?
When
Like-
my mother was a human rights lawyer.
Yeah.
So she was always big into like the moral thing.
Yeah.
So like, I remember, yeah.
He just diminished
Well, when you're young,
all her work. But,
yeah, I did.
yeah.
She wrote a
Yeah.
seminal human rights for children book for United
Yeah.
Nations. Yeah, but when you're a young kid, it's like if someone was like yelling at their kid on the subway. I remember when I was little. My mom was a little woman,
Mhm.
and there was like this big woman like yelling at her kid and jerking the kid around. And the subway in like the 80s was a dangerous place. But my mom just went over and yelled at the woman, and I was like a little kid going like, "Gee, there's nothing more mortifying
Yeah.
and scary."
Yeah.
But my mom would just like yell. She didn't care. And the woman was about 100 times. And then the woman recoiled. She didn't, I don't know. My mother would get like fiery.
Yeah.
And like, it was wild.
What?
That was my first memory of the subway.
Yeah. And then, but riding the subway was nuts. I mean, it was just
Nuts back then.
Yeah.
Nuts, man.
And then, Times Square was nuts. Like,
Nuts.
you couldn't. Would you ever go to Times Square when it was like that bad? When it was.
I was young. Well, yeah. I mean, when I grew up, you didn't go to Times Square. When I grew up, this is a true story. You would have mugger money on you, which is what they called. You would carry money on you in case you got mugged, so they wouldn't
like
hurt
your
you.
parents would give you them.
Everyone had mugger money. It was a thing in New York. You had mugger money.
Insane.
That's insane.
Yeah. We would, the windows in your car, you would say no radio. It's already been taken because they would just break in. Someone broke into my dad's car. True story. He had an Audi 5000, 80s, I guess, or close to 90, maybe 88, something.
Yeah.
Somebody broke into my dad's car outside of our house during the day while our door was open and we were getting ready to get in it.
Yeah.
That is a true story. So our door was open. We were putting on our jackets.
Yeah.
So within like a couple of minutes, someone had broken into the car.
And
he got so mad, my dad punched the hood of the car and broke his hand.
Yeah.
Because it was like the 18th time someone had. So then eventually he had to just park it in a garage, and he parked it in a garage.
Yeah.
And there was a time in New York where a lot of people did that. If you had like a semi-nice car, you wouldn't park it on the street.
You couldn't.
Couldn't do it. They would take your radio.
Yeah. Your sneakers, you always told me that, didn't you?
I got my sneakers taken. I got my Timberland boots taken off my feet, and I got my Christmas money stole.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'd carry around bus passes. So if you were a student, you would have a bus pass so you could ride the subway or the train. So you'd always have like a bus pass folder. All the kids had it. And so I had like $80 of Christmas money. I used to work at my dad's office. I'd make a little money. So that was my Christmas money. I was going to buy gifts or whatever. And so I just got jumped by like 15 kids, and they just like, and then they took the money, everything. And then the one kid was like, "Yo, man, what size do you wear?" And I was like, "Oh, no."
Yeah.
And I told the truth. I didn't want to tell a lie
Yeah.
because I'm an honest. So you don't want to lie in that situation because that's the sin.
Yeah.
So I told him my size, and I just walked home in the freezing cold, and it was wet with just socks.
Yeah.
You just walk home, and it's a 15-minute walk.
Yeah.
So you just walk, and you're stepping in slush.
Yeah. Are your parents just like,
Did
they get mad at you ever? Like,
no.
like
it was
like,
they got it. It was like there was a time in New York where that was just it happened a lot. It would happen,
And you have mugger money.
Yeah, mugger money. I mean, they broke into the cars and took things in the trunk. They took
Yeah.
my dad's briefcase. He had like a very important work-related
Yeah.
thing in there. It happened all the time. If you had a hat on in New York, you couldn't keep the hat.
Yeah.
You wouldn't keep a hat. The hat would get stolen.
Yeah.
It would just be gone.
It'd just be gone.
What would happen in New York, and this is no exaggeration. You can ask anyone who grew up in the era that I grew up.
Yeah.
This is what it was. This is no exaggeration for a fact. You would turn a street corner, and there would just be like 20 kids, and you would just go, you just knew.
There we go.
It was like, you ever watch Game of Thrones when Queen Cersei walked? There's shame.
Mhm.
You're
Yeah.
just going through, and something's going to happen.
Yeah.
So if someone called you something, you got your hat taken, and that was it,
Yeah.
that was a good day.
Yeah.
You're like, these are nice kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Because
come from good families.
you take a beating. A lot of times you just take a quick beating
Yeah.
and you run and you just took a quick beating. And that's just what happened.
And just go about your day.
You go about your day. It was
Yeah.
so normal. It's
Yeah.
weird to think about.
Yeah.
And
That
how
is
normal
crazy.
it's weird to think about how normal it was.
Yeah, it sounds awful, man.
It was
Yeah.
horrific when I left. And that's why when I talk, it's funny because you talk to these New Yorkers and they're like, man, New York's changed, And I'm like, yeah, it's great now. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's like, it's not the way it was, I'm like, what? The way it was horrific if you were there.
Yeah.
There was nothing great about
So
it.
when did it start to feel different?
Mid-90s it started. Giuliani was a mayor. He was a very tough mayor. It's a tough town, I think, in my opinion. It requires New York requires a tough, perhaps leaning right
Yeah.
kind of mayor. It just kind of does. It's a money town. It's a town where people come to live their dreams. It's a very tough, competitive town. And there's 9 million people on a small island. You
Yeah.
need like order, you know? And
Yeah.
so it started changing in the 90s. But it wasn't just him. It was like things got so bad, they only get better from there. Everything's cyclical.
Uh-huh.
And then the boom came. You know, Wall Street started booming. The tech boom came. The Clinton era, everybody started having money. And just things just kind of picked up.
What about the Mafia?
The Mafia was massive in New York. My granddad, you know, like a Greek, he owned a diner down on the docks in Red Hook, which is where the docks still are. And so he had
it's crazy to think these areas now are so expensive to live in.
So Red Hook is expensive. Yeah. And
Park Slope is not. Do you still have your parents' house?
Have it there.
I mean, like, yeah, when you ever sell your family home, I mean, it's whatever you want.
My dad bought it for $28,000 from an Irish family that like didn't have a gas stove, like the Murphys.
You're home now.
Yeah, and
now you
it's
could
like
sell
it's in millions.
Millions.
$28,000.
$28,000.
For 1959.
1959, $28,000, and now you could sell it for millions.
So the Mafia was just part of life.
Yeah.
And it's interesting hearing my dad tell it because they didn't look at it like it was all crime. It was like, you got to think back then, you know, cops were paid off. It took a while for cops to get there. Everything was cash.
Yeah.
There was no credit cards. So like robbery was like happened all the time.
Yeah.
So the Mafia was a way for you not to get robbed. So like my grandfather, like Albert Anastasia, the famous gangster Albert Anastasia, his brother would run Red Hook docks. Like that was his area. They would have areas. And so my grandfather would pay. And
what year is this? Like
we're talking about like this is the 30s, 40s.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So my grandfather would go, my father remembers, he would go sit in Albert Anastasia's brother's car, hand him an envelope. And that was like protection money.
Yeah.
It was like saying like,
you can't come there and mess
nobody's
with it.
going to mess with it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I wonder how much they paid them. Like,
I don't know.
you just pay them like whatever a week.
It was like a business.
Yeah.
So it's like they didn't charge you enough so you'd go broke,
Yeah.
you know?
And it's almost like you had to do it because what are you going to do? If you don't do it, they might be the problem that you have.
Right.
And so, well, if you don't want any other problems, you're like, I just want to be a nice restaurant. People can come in and eat.
It's kind of choosing between two evils.
Yeah.
So it's like you choose the lesser.
Yeah.
A lesser by a lot. And a lot of people looked at it as a good thing
Yeah.
because they ran the neighborhoods, and the neighborhoods, they didn't allow any bad stuff to happen.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It was like almost a better.
nobody would come in and mess with that neighborhood. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when did all that stuff start going away?
Giuliani was
Yeah.
big one who put them all
Yeah.
away. He
Yeah.
ended the mob. You know, now there's Russian mob is big and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the Cosa Nostra was kind of like it had its era. And then, the Giuliani was in New York really broke him up. And I don't know, you know, when there was less cash, I think a lot of it had to do with just there being so much cash.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. Now it's start getting credit cards.
That's why a lot of
and-
stores don't even do cash.
Yeah.
Because like it's, you know, if you have like a staff closing up,
Yeah.
what's there to rob? You're going to rob the lettuce or
Yeah.
the chicken?
Yeah.
If there's no cash,
Yeah.
nothing to steal.
Yeah.
Do you know how New York or any of its boroughs got their names?
I don't.
So the Dutch settled New York. They called it New Amsterdam.
Oh, that's right.
And then
Brooklyn is also like a Dutch name.
they're almost all
Brooklyn,
they're almost all Dutch names. But then a few years later, the English took over from the Dutch, and they changed it to New York after the Duke of York.
What do you think? Do you think when growing up in New York, did y'all think about the rest of America ever?
Yeah.
Never.
Never.
We didn't even think about. I didn't even know Canada. When I found out there was a country up there, I
Yeah.
was like, "What?
What? Yeah.
That's wild."
I mean, y'all just think you're the world.
We do think
because
we're the world.
there's so many people from different places there. So I mean, Tennessee never crossed your mind.
Such a big city. It feels like your universe.
Yeah.
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 And you never, if someone talked about going to California, you're like,
Oh,
I
it
don't even know what
seems
that
so
is.
foreign. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even understand. Like,
I remember when we got two major league sports teams here, the Titans and the Predators, and it just was the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
You have two of every major sports team.
everything.
Yeah,
It's
it's
crazy.
so crazy to
Yeah.
me.
Like, yeah. I mean, the population, it just can support anything. We could probably do a third or fourth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where was the first city you went to outside of our state?
Probably DC
Yeah.
because my brother went to school there.
Yeah.
So probably DC.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then do you remember going even farther, like middle of the country?
I didn't leave. We would go to Greece a few times.
Yeah.
So that was Greece and DC because my brother went to school there. Other than that, I went nowhere.
Yeah.
We wouldn't even go to Long Island.
Yeah.
We wouldn't even go to Queens.
Is this your
Yeah.
first time to the South?
No, I've been to the South.
This is the first time in Nashville.
First time in Nashville.
Yeah.
Is
First
this-
time in Nashville.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is
But
a
now
way,
you
as
traveled
which
because
is
of
a way as a
comedy.
comic just admitting you haven't been booked by Zanies.
Yeah.
When you're a comic, you haven't been somewhere. The other comics are like, I guess he hasn't worked
Yeah.
that club.
Yeah. Well, comedy is really what made you start going to
Traveling.
different places,
Right.
and like seeing all the different things.
Right.
That's what I always found it when we would always talk about that. Like we would always joke and make fun of each other, but they're saying like I wasn't cultured. But it's a very weird, different kind of thing. Technically, he's not cultured either,
No.
even though I'm not cultured. In the fact that I don't know, you know, so many people from so many different places, to so many different countries and I mean, like just these whole other worlds you're around. Like these way these people grow up, and I was never around that, but I have traveled more, and I've been in more different situations and lived in different cities.
Yeah.
And it's but yeah, it's there. I mean, guys are not leaving their blocks. They're not leaving.
No.
You know, families. You're I mean, your grandfather to your dad to y'all are in Brooklyn.
Yes.
I mean, it's kind of insane that you don't live where you do. I guess when your brother moved to DC was kind of crazy.
He moved away.
That was a big deal.
Big deal, yeah.
Yeah.
Big
Why are you
deal.
going to DC?
He went to school there.
Yeah. No, I mean, saying like there's your family thought. Like,
yeah.
Were
Well, when my dad went to Ithaca, he played football, and my dad went to Ithaca to go to college. My grandfather, who was an immigrant from Greece, was like, "Why are you doing that?
yeah.
Like, why are you leaving?"
Where would you go to college in Brooklyn? Just Brooklyn
College, Hunter College. There's
Yeah.
a bunch, but yeah, he was like, "Why?" That generation's like, I have the restaurant
Yeah.
for you. Take over this business. Like, traveling was like a, you know.
Is there there's different personality of Brooklyn and Queens and
Yes.
New York? Like so, like
Yes.
Sam Morril,
Yes.
very funny
Manhattan
comedian,
kid. Yeah.
Manhattan Kid.
Yeah.
Manhattan Kid, y'all did not put up
Different.
with.
They're different.
You
They're
didn't-
like
you didn't
rich.
like it.
You think like a Manhattan, you're rich,
Yeah.
which isn't always the case.
Yeah,
But Sam Morril is just a good old New York City.
yeah,
Doesn't celebrate Christmas.
yeah. Doesn't?
No.
No, yeah,
Yeah, you've
Yeah.
been off stage for a little while. I mean,
Yeah.
that was. I'm
Yeah.
trying to say
Yeah.
in the cleanest way possible that he's Jewish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't pick up on it.
He's got
You
that
know-
hat, but it's a
You know what
lot
I'm talking about?
smaller.
It's a lot smaller.
Yeah.
Let's just say his December's quite busy.
Yeah. Yeah. He eats Chinese food one more day a week than you
do.
maybe.
You know what I'm talking about? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, but Sam was in Manhattan. I remember Sam going on the road for the first time was like him leaving Manhattan, no license. When did you get your license? Driver's
Yeah,
license?
20s.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
Wow.
don't drive. Yeah.
Yeah.
No driving. It's an impediment to have a car
yeah.
because of parking and like
And
traffic.
they're stealing it and they're breaking into
They're breaking
it.
and stealing
Yeah.
into it too. Yeah.
One less thing to not get broken into
Exactly.
is a good thing.
Exactly. And the train is so efficient. You can
Yeah.
get pretty much anywhere within a couple blocks
Yeah.
with the
Mhm.
train.
The G line came and that was
The G line took,
that was to go to Queens. But
Yeah.
that was G line was terrible.
G line was terrible, but G line would take all the white kids who gentrified Williamsburg home.
Yeah.
So it's like, it used to be a bad train line, and Colin Quinn had a great joke where he called it looked like a ski lift.
Yeah.
It was so white, he was like, it's a
Yeah.
ski lift.
Yeah.
I think it was Willis McGahee when he got drafted by the Bills. He thought that was New York City. He said he just
thought
heard Buffalo, New York, and he got there and he's like, "Where's all the buildings?"
Yeah.
He really thought he was going to New York City till he arrived in Buffalo.
Well, it shows you everybody that lives in your town, you don't really pay attention to anything else.
No.
I remember going to New York. I mean, obviously you hear about New York, and I remember seeing the Statue of Liberty. And so I mean, I would go look at it a lot. I would always remember every time I saw it, I was like, I can't believe I'm looking at the Statue of Liberty. And I thought that for 9 years. I looked at it before I left. I just always would go to it and go, I can't believe I'm seeing the Statue of Liberty. That's so crazy with my own eyes.
Mhm.
I'm looking at it. Where you would have, I mean,
It was just like, I don't even think I went to the Statue
Yeah.
of Liberty till like
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah.
It was just a thing that was there. It's part
Yeah.
of what you grew up. It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's like, yeah, that's where we all came from.
yeah.
Well, most of us. Well, not most of us, but like anyone who lived in New York, their parents or grandparents came through there. Your grandparents came through there
Yeah.
at some point.
I think we
Bargatze.
skipped it. I think we missed it. We went a different route.
You went a different route, but you have some Italian in you.
Yeah, we have
Yeah.
some, but we went. I tried to look it up when I went, and I couldn't. I couldn't find my name, but we could have been spelled under a different name.
Yeah.
But we think they came. We do think they came through a different way because
Yeah.
some people did come through. I think the
Mhm.
Carolinas.
It says 40% of Americans can trace their ancestry through Ellis Island.
Insane. That's
40%.
insane.
Almost
That's
half of the
huge.
country.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
we were already here.
I mean, that's what you like to tell yourself, and
Yeah.
I applaud your
Yeah.
patriotism. But
We
at some
live.
point, you had an ancestor who's going, "Questa la vita sabella."
Yeah, we live as we were already here.
Yeah.
When did you come? Your grandparents?
Grandparents.
Yeah,
Grandparents, and then my mother came.
Yeah.
My mother was born in Greece.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a Greek.
Yeah.
Greek
and you're-
Orthodox?
Greek Orthodox, how I grew up, which is Christian.
Yeah.
You celebrate Easter different day?
We do celebrate Easter.
We talked about the calendar.
Yeah.
What
We
day
have a
do you-
different calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all Roman
coming
Empire
up?
stuff. Huh?
Your Easter's about to
Our
come up.
Easter changes every year, and I make the joke always that it always comes after your Easter.
Yeah,
and
it's
I
like
always say,
7 days later.
yeah, I always say because yours is like a dress rehearsal for Jesus. It's just
Yeah.
like trying out his stuff, and then he
And
does
then
the
he
real
does the
show
real-
for the real
yeah.
people. Yeah,
Yeah, for the real Greeks.
yeah. It's
Panos.
Mr. Panos joke. Yeah,
It's Mr. Panos.
yeah. My comedy. The last thing to get popular of me was me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Nate
had a funny joke,
Is Giannis has never made it as himself.
Yeah.
a straight white comedian.
Yeah.
He's only made it as other.
Yeah, an old Greek man,
an old
and
Greek man,
a
and
trans Puerto Rican woman.
Trans
yeah.
Puerto Rican.
I saw you at Caroline's though when Marisa was big, and you were just selling out every show.
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
I was earlier. I was like the first of our crew to have any sort of that type of ticket selling success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're the first of the crew where we knew what you made, and it was like,
Yeah.
it was nuts.
Yeah.
And we couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I mean, he was getting recognized everywhere. His videos would go viral, and I was with him with Marisa when he came up. Marisa,
That's crazy. That's right.
yeah,
That's
I
right.
was
That's right.
And you did it. We did a show for a radio, some show for some guys doing some radio.
Which you
thing.
convinced me to do, and I was like, "This sounds stupid." You're like, "Trust me, it's going to be great."
Yeah, it's
I
gonna
don't
be
know
good.
why you wanted to do
But
it.
we were just because it was doing it. We were performing live, but it was going out on the radio. And then I told you to do Marisa. I was like, and I told those guys, I go, he does this very funny Marisa character. This is like perfect.
No,
to
that's
do it
not
on.
how it
I
happened.
thought that's where it was.
No, I'll tell you exactly how it happened. There's a lot of success for you between now and then. You forgot it
Yes.
because you just have so many sold out shows in your head.
Yeah. There's a lot going on. No. Yeah.
So what happened was and then you'll go, oh yeah. So we had to come up with a few characters to pretend to be call-ins. So me and Nate went to this diner on Broadway.
Yeah.
And we sat
remember
down. And that's when.
Yes. Yeah.
So we were thinking of characters, and one of the characters we thought of was like two Southern guys who always just said, "Get off my property," which I
Yeah.
thought was hilarious.
Still,
and that
very
was your
funny.
idea.
Get off my property.
So we was fake radio call-ins. So we'd call in as these characters, and so it was two guys going like, just everything was "Get off my property," because like
Yeah.
Southern guys are all about their property.
Yeah.
So
Get
like,
off of it.
Yeah,
and
so
we want you off of it.
we want you
It's-
off it. Yeah,
We love our property,
And we
and I
want
don't
you
want
off-
you off
yeah.
of it. Yeah.
we were like, yeah, we was like, if you want to talk, you can talk that over there. You say
Yeah.
whatever you want over there. It's not my property.
It's not my property.
You come over here, you're on my property.
Hey.
Different story. Yeah.
This is my property,
yeah.
and I want you off
I
of
want
it.
you off.
Yeah.
And then we were sitting there, and there's like, I used to do this like Rosie Perez impersonation. So this is before I created the character. So I just started thinking of characters, and I was like thinking, nobody's ever done a trans character. It's kind of like a new thing. So I just said a line. I riffed a line to Nate. I was like, my name is Marisa. I just riffed it, and he laughed, and he
Yeah.
never laughs. You know him, right?
Mhm.
Like he
Yeah.
barely laughs.
Yeah. I'm not around comedy a lot.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Part of it's because he's
Yeah.
funny, you know? So if he was, and I was like not connected to why it was funny, but I saw him laugh because I was thinking of stuff. I was like more in my head, but for some reason he was cracking up.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and then I just riffed like another line about socks on her feet, and he
Yeah.
laughed again.
Yeah.
And it was like, and then I started working it out on stage. And then one show I was hosting in New York Comedy Club, and I was waiting for Sherrod Small. He was running
Yeah.
late. And they told me to stretch. And I was like, let me just try to keep going with this character, not do joke. So I started doing the character on stage, and I just it really came to life that night. I think I did like 30 minutes or 20 minutes as her.
Mm.
And I built her whole story, what her deal was, what the goals were. And then we shot it after that. But it was sitting with Nate, and because of that show, that was it.
I mean, it was a big deal. I mean,
Yeah.
it was because
That's
he
where
was.
I created her, in that diner.
Yeah. So I remember the diner. I thought we did it on that radio show too.
Yeah.
But
Do you remember it now? after I said
no,
it?
yeah. No, I always remember the diner. I thought it was something, but maybe we were doing that radio show and then we were doing that show and then we went to that diner.
That's what
I
it
could
was.
walk you to that diner. It's by Union Square, right? Like,
Exactly.
I mean,
Soup.
I
It's
could
a
go.
famous New York
Yeah.
diner.
Yeah, I could go to that diner, and every time I went in that diner once with David Tell. We ate late one night, and I would go sit, and I was like, I could show you the booth. I definitely remember it
Yeah.
because it was it was the first thing that we saw as a comedian. You were the first thing that kind of took off. We had fans, so none of us had fans, and none of us had people that even knew us. And so Giannis was the first one to go like, "Oh, you're selling out." I mean, we go to Caroline's. It was crazy, dude. Like, He was a sold out weekend. He's making a ton of money. He's doing these characters. Mr. Panos. He had the Panos fan, all the Greek fans, because Panos took off too.
Panos was earlier, but
Yeah.
there's only like 1 million Greeks in the country.
Yeah.
So if like, if I was Indian, it would be on.
Yeah.
But there's only like 1 million Greeks, and
Yeah.
Greeks are like very like when they come out with their grandparents, Greeks like whenever I did a show with Nate, my family would like Nate more than they'd like me. So, but Panos was smaller, and then I did a video with Panos called "The Greek Financial Crisis" that took off with the financial crowd.
Yeah.
So I was doing like weird finance gigs.
Yeah.
I'd like go to Canada, Graham K opened for me for when it was
Yeah.
like this big hedge fund guy's birthday, gave me a bunch of money, and like it was his birthday. So it was like
Yeah.
I did a bunch of those. And then I do a lot of Greek shows too. That's where I met my wife at a Greek show. But Mauricio was another story. It was like it connected.
Yeah.
Like it was just people loved it. And that was like where you're going, like that's when you started to go, like the internet's this thing that kind of I shot that
Yeah.
video in my living room for nothing.
Yeah, didn't you have like J-Lo and you had
J-Lo, Pitbull, Mark Anthony. It made its rounds. Beyonce's dancers, like it was making its rounds amongst. Joe Button came to a show once.
Yeah.
It was like it was out there.
Yeah.
It was out there. But it was really only big in New York, Miami. Miami and New York were the biggest. San Fran, L.A.
Yeah.
It was a few places.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a mainstream thing, but
But it was
nowadays. That's what you want. You want like a little niche that comes out and sees you.
But it was very fun to see because it was very fun to like just be a part of it as just of our friend as me and Yannis, one of my closest friends, and then get to see that rise. It was the first sign of any success I saw with someone I knew. Like we were around Schumer and Aziz. You would see people blow up, and we were friends with all of them, but it was the first like. You're like, well, this is my dude.
Yeah.
And then he's like, and now he's sold out of this club, and these people are losing it.
We were doing the podcast during that.
Yeah.
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 We were still doing the podcast. So that was 2011, beginning of like the very beginning of 2011. It was a long time ago.
Yeah. And then you quit the podcast.
Then I quit the podcast, which was the best thing that ever happened to you. So
Yeah,
don't worry about it.
yeah.
Yeah. Don't get tied up with me.
I thank him every day.
Yeah.
So what happened to Marisa? Did they just run its course?
It kind of ran its course. Like I always knew. The thing
Yeah.
about it, like I was 35. Like I got back into comedy like around 2005, 6 when I met Nate's really when I started, to be honest. Like I started 2000 and
Yeah, I don't
did
ever
it for like
count that.
Huh?
I don't ever count you starting the first time. You
No.
kind of did it, but you did.
I didn't.
You were
yeah.
doing more sketch stuff.
And I just
yeah.
stopped.
Yeah.
Like for a while, I was like dealing with other stuff. Like, so I didn't really start till 2005, 6. When I met you is when I really started.
Yes.
So I was like in my late 20s or something like that. And then, so that, I didn't make any money till I was in my mid 30s.
Yeah.
So, and so I was older, so I knew I was like, this is going to run its course. Let's just juice it. First year, we sold 10,000 tickets in New York City in a year. So it was like, I just kept doing shows because I knew it was like lightning in a bottle. It was like, there's a character.
Get as much as you can.
So we just like booked shows and I did the thing. I went different. I was like, I want a full door deal. People are like, that's not the way it works. I'm like, I'm putting the full audience in there. So give me an off night. I don't care about a weekend. Give me a Tuesday. I want 100% of the door. I know you make your money on drinks. And part of that's because I worked in the club business. So I knew, before I worked in nightclubs, I did the door, I did lists and whatever. So I just got 100% of the door. And I just we just kept adding shows. And then we go to Jersey, add shows. And so, it ran its course.
Yeah.
Everything does.
Yeah.
Everything has its, everything
Yeah. Comes back down. Yeah.
comes back down, man.
Yeah.
Here's a fun fact about Manhattan. You know how much it was bought for from the Native Americans?
Very cheap.
$24.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's like
Yeah.
an appetite. That's like 2 for
When
20
was
at
that?
Applebee's.
When
yeah.
was that?
I mean, this is the 1600s, but they traded goods that are worth $24 US.
Yeah. And what's funny is the Indians probably thought they were getting a good deal because
Yeah.
they don't
Yeah.
even know what money is. They're like,
Yeah.
they'll give them this
Yeah.
paper and they'll get,
Yeah.
we'll give them the island, yeah.
You
I
want
don't
to guess how much that is now?
$24.
$24 and
Mm,
16.
Yeah.
1609 was when it was.
Oh, 16.
Couple $100,000.
No,
$2 million.
no, not even
$50.
$1,500.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
that's-
basically, would be
yeah.
getting it for $1,500. You get Manhattan.
yeah, that'd be good rent now.
I'll be honest with you.
Manhattan.
Right now, I don't know if it'd be worth it.
Yeah.
It's
not worth it.
yeah. Just the headache alone. I mean,
Funny,
yeah.
That's funny. That's funny.
New York City was the capital of the U.S.
Yep. And then it got-
78.
yep.
Remember that?
I do know that. Yeah,
You remember it?
I did know. I didn't remember it was
Oh, okay.
1700s.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
1785 to 1790. George Washington was sworn in there.
Yep. And down by Wall Street.
Yep.
Oh,
New York City. Yep.
There's a lot of finance guys, like a lot of you around all that. Like remember
Wall
people in
Street.
Brooklyn? Yeah.
Yeah, my friends became.
That's all they. That's what you. Would that be what a lot of people wanted to become?
That's a lot. What a lot of guys in Brooklyn, all the the guy they made the movie with
Jordan Belfort.
yeah, I mean
Yeah.
all those guys, Queens guys, Long
Is
Island
that the
guys.
Wolf of Wall Street?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Wolf
they
of
all
Wall
become
Street.
like these cheesy
Yeah.
business guys who are like, I'll make move money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and my best friend growing up became like a chop shop broker.
Yeah.
Like stocks,
Yeah.
That
That
was
where do you
like-
work? Yeah, we're with Simpson, Thomas and Panucci.
Yeah.
And our office is in a strip mall on Long Island.
Yeah.
Yeah. We said, listen, I got a good deal. It's a company. It's called, CBDF. What is it? It's what we do. So, we're doing the creams at the athletes. It's just like, it's a
Yeah.
vitamin company. Get in on it. And it's
Yeah.
like, there's no company and you're buying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Boiler
all
room.
that going on.
Yeah, there's all that going
Yeah.
on. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's all that going on. Yeah.
That's all still going on.
That's still, it'll always, New
Yeah.
York comes with a little criminality.
Yeah.
It just comes with it.
It
That's
just
part of the
comes-
business. Yeah.
It is what it is.
It
you know?
is what it is.
I almost respect that though. It's like the
Yeah.
idea you're like, yeah.
Yeah, even the clubs. I mean, let's be honest. I'll just say it now because we're all
Yeah.
getting independent. It's just true. It's like, yeah, come down. You could even hear the voice going, yeah, come perform my club. $25 on Tuesday.
Yeah.
But then magically on Saturday, we can afford $75.
Yeah.
It's the same crowd,
Yeah.
same amount of people in there. But,
Yeah.
it's a $25 set.
Yeah.
It's a Tuesday. It's a different day. And you're going, it might make sense.
Yeah.
You're going, wait a second. That does not make any sense.
Yeah. How we would get paid, but the tickets are cheaper on Tuesday.
Well, I
Does
mean,
that
they
not
don't,
make
they don't
sense?
make their money.
So
on
that's how we
tickets.
would get paid in comedy is $25 for Sunday to Thursday. You would get $25 a set. So everybody would do 10, 15 minutes,
Yeah.
depending on the club. And you could
Yeah.
do as many sets as you can get to and
Yeah.
all over the city. And you'd be $25. In the weekend, you'd get $75.
Yeah.
To host, you get $125.
Yeah, and that money never, you get 100, 125 or 150, and that money never went up. So it's like that money's
Yeah.
got to go up. You got to adjust it for inflation. So every year, not only were comedians not making more, they were making less technically. Every
Well, that was
year.
a big Ted Alexandra when I
Yeah.
first moved there as Ted. And then
Well, it was because of
Ted-
him that it
yeah.
got raised from like
Yeah.
$5 to $25.
Yeah, I think it was like 20. Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
50 for the weekend and
Yeah.
maybe 15 or something for during the week.
Yeah.
But Ted, a very funny comic, and they kind of did a protest, a strike.
Him and
almost-
Russ Maneve.
yeah.
Yeah.
and because they weren't paying the people enough, and it was getting more expensive for cabs and you'd have to do cabs or trains to get all these spots, and these clubs were charging more money. And so,
Well,
yeah, they
just
got it
by
up.
inflation, you
Yeah.
got to increase people's pay.
Yeah.
It's like the worth of what money is. So
Yeah.
if you're not increasing it, then you're actually getting a pay decrease.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things when you're a comic that I don't know if that era will be there after this. I think it might be there. I don't know. It's interesting because things are changing so much where like the clubs need the comedians in there. Like
Yeah.
if you have a fan base now or like a podcast or a digital presence or you're selling out through, streaming services like you and stuff, it's like they need you in there. It's like it's going to get a little more fairer, I think,
yeah,
It's like, yeah, I get it. You got expenses and stuff like that. But you can do those on those nights
Yeah.
where it's like new comics. But like, I'm not going to go in and do a set. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
take my name off the thing or whatever.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, like doing a real set is like if you're actually selling tickets, because that's when you and on the road, like we have that at Zanies where we pop in a lot on this new material night. No one's advertised, and we don't know if we're coming as much. But a lot of local comics
But it would
do
be
that.
it would be unfair.
Yeah.
It would be unfair if you were coming through on a new material night
Yeah,
and like, I'm not going to say Zanies, but any club was like Nate Bargatze. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That's not fair.
yes.
That's not fair.
Well, yeah, because then you actually have your show that, like, we have a Ryman show that hopefully I bet it's gonna be October now, but it's been rescheduled for a year and a half because of COVID. And so you have all those tickets, and so people hold on, and we'll be there in October. But like that's the Ryman's that's the things that you start selling. So you do have to be careful that your name can't be on these, and that's you hope people stop by.
Right.
And that was big with New York, with Chappelle was stopping by, and all these people unannounced. Chris Rock, I mean, they pop in
All the time.
And New York has made it's kind of the clubs are kind of known to that. You're seeing great comedians that will probably be something someday, but you also are about like who's going to stop by.
Yeah.
And there was a moment in New York. I mean, when we were there at the end, I mean, it was Louis C.K., Chappelle. Like, I mean, it was someone was almost always there.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Rock, Seinfeld. Like, I mean, it was. You were
Gaffigan. You got to give Gaffigan just so humble about it. But I mean,
Gaffigan stopped
yeah.
on. He would just come in. And,
I mean, guy does arenas,
Yeah. I think Gaffigan. Yeah.
It's funny though because
Pound for pound, one of the probably highest selling tickets.
Oh, for sure.
Or like selling the most tickets that any comedian and the most places. He did Russia.
Yes, for sure.
Gaffigan went to Russia.
Guy performed for the Pope.
Yeah.
I
mean that Gaffigan's. I mean Kevin Hart sells a lot of tickets, but I don't think I always say the wealth of tickets that Gaffigan sells, as far as Gaffigan's going to cities you've never heard of and doing their maybe arena where he can do whatever they do, the fairground they have there, and he'll sell it out and going to these tiny cities and these markets, and it's everywhere. It's every market, and then be able to go to Russia and go to Mexico and do all these, we're in Canada, Sweden, it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
Russia was crazy, and he sold out Russia.
Yeah.
And that's crazy.
Yeah, man, he's a great comic.
Yeah.
I found this interesting. New York State has 18,000 cattle. They're the third leading producers of dairy products in the U.S.
How you feel about that?
It's great.
Yeah.
It's
How-
Nateland, baby.
How
Nateland.
many cow?
18,000.
That seems so low,
I know.
Yeah.
doesn't it?
18,000?
Yeah.
And that's more than most?
Third leading producer of dairy products.
Yeah, 18,000 doesn't seem like a lot.
I would have guessed 18 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what it is? It's like, that's not a lot, but milk is on the decline because of almond milk and all this other stuff. Like milk is really
Struggling.
struggling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever see a cow?
Yeah, I've seen cows.
Bronx Zoo?
Bronx Zoo.
Yeah.
I went to the Bronx Zoo and there was a bull there.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Uh-huh.
you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, I think maybe the first cow was Bronx Zoo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would see no animals. What
No
animals
animals.
would y'all get running through there? Just
Pigeons, rats, and
yeah.
cats and dogs.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. You would,
Yeah.
no coyotes or you just see
No.
something sneak in.
No.
Yeah.
Not even a bluebird
No.
come through.
Once in a while, you see a weird bird.
Yeah.
It's not a pigeon.
Yeah.
And
You've seen it as you're on the ground and they're plummeting you as you take your
Yeah,
sneakers and you're
yeah.
looking up, just going,
oh, it's a
"Oh,
bluebird.
it's a bluebird.
Bang,
Bang.
bang.
You're just getting hit. You
Yeah.
wake up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The New York Post was established by Alexander Hamilton in 1803. It's the
Yeah. It's changed just a little bit.
Yeah.
longest running newspaper in the U.S.
Longest running newspaper.
Yeah,
Wow, I didn't
still
know
going. Still
Still
going.
going.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan was born in Brooklyn.
We claim him, but
Lived there until he's 5.
Really?
Until he's
And
5.
y'all, and how much y'all
New
ride
York's
on that?
claim on
Oh,
it.
yeah.
You know, New
love it.
Yorkers are, yeah.
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 He's one of us.
It's one of us who's born here. That's how
Yeah.
he became great. Yeah.
Yeah.
New Yorkers like to think that, the geography is what made somebody great.
Yeah.
So then they think
You're very
maybe,
proud people.
very proud.
Very proud.
Of
You
a
ju-
city that smells
Yeah.
like dung. We're pretty.
Yeah.
Can I say dung?
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, that one's on the fence, actually.
We're going to debate it.
But it's cool because I
afterwards.
stumped you guys.
Yeah.
Because dung technically kind of a curse, maybe.
Yeah. Maybe. We're in the other
Yeah.
room. We debate what
Yeah.
you said.
Yeah.
We might cut you out of this whole thing. But
Yeah.
there's I'm gonna just talk to this light behind
Yeah.
you. New York does have a very your attitude is if people know real New Yorkers, because it's always like you're there, you're
Yeah.
New York,
I'm a New Yorker,
you're
yeah.
Brooklyn, you're New York. It's not outside. You're not because y'all don't like even the people that try to say someone says they're from Buffalo and they go
Yeah,
and they
that's
tell someone
fine.
from New
It's
York,
New
you're like,
York,
come on,
yeah,
you know
yeah.
you know what
Yeah,
you're doing.
I meant New York.
If someone was from Queens, do you still have that attitude?
Yeah,
or would
they're
you
New
go?
Yorkers.
They're New Yorkers.
Yeah, New Yorkers.
It's got to be one of the
So-
boroughs.
It's got to be one of the boroughs.
Staten Island.
Staten Island for sure. I mean, you can't
Yeah.
get even. That's like the most New York.
Yeah.
Yeah. New York is an honest.
But Manhattan,
place.
you
New,
would
Manha- no, yeah, a little bit. You look down like but
you're not
but-
blue collar. You're not us. You
No.
didn't go through it.
yeah, a
you're-
little bit. But Manhattan wasn't always like it was when you were there. Manhattan
Yeah.
had a lot of neighborhoods and stuff. But New York, even the business side, like we kind of like that. Everyone
Yeah.
likes the thing about New York, and New York is a tough, honest
Yeah,
town. It
yeah.
really is. Like all these cities are great and stuff, but like you could never imagine another city being the spot where people go to make it
Yeah.
because everyone's too nice. Like, hey man, it was great. It's like, no, what? New York's just like so cutthroat. It's like
Yeah.
you got to be good.
Yeah. You got to be
gotta
good.
be good. That's why.
But that's the idea of moving there and making people laugh was so big of a deal because you go there and it's tough. It's the hardest place to make people laugh.
yeah,
There's so many shit, like you said, there's so many shows they can go to. There's Broadway. You're next to Broadway.
yeah.
I mean, there's Phantom of the Opera professionally is just 2 blocks away. We can go to that, and we're in this room watching you. You better be worth it. And it's pretty crazy.
The great thing about being a comic too, and it's important to say now because everyone is so divided on these teams and stuff. Being a comic, we're like the ones who know the most about how similar people are.
Oh yeah,
just like everywhere you go, and like they're yelling at each other because they don't know each other, they don't see each other, they don't get that, they don't have that privilege that we have to just go to all these. We've gone from Elks Lodges to big theaters to small towns to different cities to different countries, and at the end of the day, underneath it all, it's just like dudes and dudettes.
Have you ever heard of an Elks Lodge?
Yeah, I've done a show at an Elks Lodge.
Just because of comedy?
Yeah.
Wouldn't have heard it before, right? I don't remember an Elk Lodge growing up. But yeah, we did Elks Lodges. Yeah, we went into...
it's like a Moose Lodge, right? It's the same kind of...
Vandy Florida game I watched at the Elks Lodge. I listened to it at Vandy lost, and then I listened to it in my car, and I remember I was hosting, and so I would kind of just go back to my car. I had Sirius. Just had to get Sirius. Kind of new. And I had my dad's old car, and it came with Sirius. And so I had it. So I'd go back and listen to the car. And I remember walking back to the Elks Lodge and we're done. I'm like, let me go back and listen to this game. And I remember just looking down and I saw a room below and I was like, what's going on down there? And there's a TV and the game's on in the TV. So I was like, I could have been down here watching the whole game. I've been sitting down in this car in the woods listening to this Vandy Florida game.
You know what gives comedy, I think, the advantage over music a little bit as far as bringing people together? Like music, everyone has a different taste.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, I don't like that. But comedy, people have a certain taste, but in the room, no matter where you are, rich, poor,
we're all the same.
Ethnicity, it's like you're laughing or you're not.
Yeah.
And like a good comic just like will make the people laugh.
Yeah. Puts a lot of people, I feel like you get to know people. When you see people laugh, it shows that person's personality and what they can handle. Music, you can sit and just like nod and you could be like, someone could be like, oh, I hated it. And you're like, oh, you were smiling. It's like, I can show any reaction. But making someone laugh, you could you could sit someone in a room and show them, plane, trains, and automobiles. Just see what they laugh at. You can get a gauge on what kind of person that is. Yeah. Any kind of comedy, it's very hard to make someone laugh.
Comedy's the only thing that if you had a live show and there was like black dudes over here who listen to strictly hip hop, and then you got like people who strictly listen to country music and are from like rural Tennessee, and then inner cities of Chicago, whatever, and all in the same audience. And then Nate Bargatze. It's the only thing where you would get those people to all like the same thing.
Yeah.
Or you have some tourists from Norway in there, and you throw some California hippies there, and a couple of radical feminist San Francisco people. And like, if you want like a comedian, a comedy show is the only thing that would bring
those people together.
Bring the humanity out of everyone.
I think New York City might be the only thing to bring those people together.
New York City, yeah.
We don't have those shows here.
No, but comedy can do it. A good comic
Yeah.
can make everyone have a good time.
Yeah.
Whereas a band or a movie or something, can't do that.
Mhm.
It's comedy, like that laughter is like, we're human. It's like saying, I know what you're saying. I recognize it. And the laugh is underneath all that bull.
Yeah. What comedy, do you remember the first comedy show you went to?
Live one?
Yeah, in New York.
First one I went to was in DC, and I was in college, and it was Chris Rock working on stuff. That was before I knew like a guy would just come and sit on a stool and kind of phone it in when he doesn't care.
The improv.
I saw him and the improv in DC, and I saw him doing the material that ended up becoming Bring the Pain.
Yeah, wow.
And he was kind of bombing with it, which is interesting. And I didn't know it. Now as a comic, I know, oh, that's what he was doing.
Yeah.
He was dropping by, just kind of hearing it, working it out. Yeah.
That
was cool.
And then it became that big of a special. That's crazy.
That big of a special.
That big of a special.
Yeah, he was sitting on a stool, just going through it, bombing.
Yeah. I remember going to New York. I bought a ticket at Broadway Comedy Club, which was the Improv, which we were, and I went and bought it. I remember buying a ticket to that. Right when I first kind of moved there, it was like, let me go just see a show. And I went in with everybody and sat in the crowd and watched that. And that was the first. That was the first, like in New York, like getting just like it was a Saturday night, just watching whatever comics that go up.
This is a showcase.
Yeah, just a showcase.
You remember anybody who was on it?
I don't always. I want to say Ben Bailey or Greer Barnes. I remember seeing them, and I don't really remember. I remember going to the comic strip and seeing. I'm blanking on his name, but he just died actually.
JJ Romero?
No.
Vic Henley, unfortunately.
Henley, I know.
Rest in
sadly.
peace. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great guy.
So I remember seeing Vic Henley, and it was a great guy from the South. And I remember watching him
Yeah.
at the comic strip, and he would run in and host. And I remember he ran on stage and said, "I don't even know." He goes, "I just ran down here. They told me I was in my apartment. And they're like, this comic's not showing up, so I got to come do a set." And I remember just being like, what? Like, that's so crazy. This guy's on stage now doing jokes, and he was at home, and they just needed him to come.
Right.
And you don't, it was a job. It was his job, but at the time, it was just blown away by that could happen. I remember just being like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
I want to just be called and have it to go up and figure it out. And it was crazy. Yeah. All right. New York. That was New York. That was great.
We did it.
That was great.
We did it.
I think that was a little different than, usually we read a lot of facts. We got the real deal here. The real deal.
Yeah. You're the real deal from Tennessee as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're the real deals. That's why we like each other.
That's why we like each other. We're
We're
very
the real deals.
We're a great example of it. Like, you know, two different people.
We like you to be where you're from and be happy about it.
I cuss, you don't cuss.
No. Yeah.
So we're different, but we're the same. We're comics. We're people.
Be proud of where you're from.
Yeah. And there's nobody prouder than where they're from than you are. I mean, you got Vanderbilt underwear on right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Do you
Anchor down.
Do you still have to have, did I ask that question already? Do you
Yeah.
still have to have a piece of Vanderbilt clothing on you at all times?
No, not at all times. I kind of took it as I've done so much Vandy stuff that I think I'm associated with them a little bit, and I
Yeah.
like that. But I have it. I'm always around it.
Right.
I mean, I always still do the anchor down, like on every special or Tonight Show. I always throw up the.
Did you guys know that for a while he had a superstition that he had to have
Yeah.
Yeah.
some
Used
sort
to have
of
a wrist
Vanderbilt?
band on
Yeah.
your arm.
I didn't know
Yeah.
it was a policy.
Yes, it was a
Yeah.
policy.
It was a policy for a while.
Yeah.
And you get older, and
Yeah.
I used to wear basketball shorts.
Yeah, like when we would share a
underneath my
hotel room. Yeah,
jeans.
we'd share a hotel room on the road or whatever. He would have to get undressed twice.
Yeah.
Like he would take his pants off, and then there'd be like
basketball
like
shorts.
it'd be basketball shorts underneath. Like go to bed, you
Yeah.
have to just peel off
Yeah.
warm up
I
clothes.
think that's a big New York thing. Y'all used to wear double basketball shorts.
No,
Yeah.
you're a little off.
Yeah. We used to do that. Play a little ball in Brooklyn.
We played a little
Queens,
ball, but
played a little ball.
I didn't have jeans on over and
Yeah.
spend my day in the
Yeah.
shorts.
He
you
called
know?
them his mugger jeans.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. There you go.
that was a goodie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Breakfast served late today.
Yeah.
All right. As always, Yannis Pappas, Yanni Long Days, his own podcast, which I'm a big fan of, and that's what you do.
Yeah.
Imagine if you're gonna go listen to it, it's gonna be some language.
There might be a couple languages you might enjoy. Long Days podcast and then History Hyenas.
Yes, go check those out. Giannis, one of my long friends in comedy.
Yeah.
We've been friends for a long time.
17
yeah.
years.
Yeah,
We met in 2005 or 6.
Yeah.
5.
5, I think.
5. So that's
Yeah.
16 years.
16 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
still
a
going.
teenager going through
Loyal.
puberty.
I don't
Huh?
let go.
No, you're loyal. You're
Loyal.
loyal. You're loyal.
Loyal.
From Mount Juliet.
You come in, you come in.
Yeah. You're not spoiled.
Yeah.
You're loyal.
Yeah. I'm from Brooklyn.
From Brooklyn.
All right. As always, thank you guys for listening, and we will see you next week. See you.